Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexiot's here, Monday morning, and it is a day after a game reaction to a 3-point win over Orlando Magic, second game of Summer League yesterday. Bit different than the first game that we played at Summer League, but not different in some ways also. Very, very interesting game. I'm very proud of the team and how they handled themselves in some ways. There's a lot to clean up as Coach James Wade said, we did not play well at all and we still managed to win. And that's pretty impressive in some ways. The Raptors were not good on offense last night. And, in some ways they're lucky they won, but they won off of gritty defensive play. And that's it right there. That's it right there. That you can go a long way with effort and teamwork on defense, even if you're not making shots or free throws. You can still figure it out. Now, if they had made free throws yesterday, the margin of this game would have been way different, and it would have looked more like what I thought it was going to look like. But because the Raptors were stalling out on offense and really not playing solid on that end of the floor at all, this was a weird game. It was low scoring. It was defensive oriented. Magic didn't really have a whole lot of firepower themselves on the other side. It was very early on. Tristan da Silva was a problem. And I have my theories for that. Colin Murray Boyles was available and played and made his debut as a Raptor yesterday, which was fantastic. But in some ways, that's why Tristan da Silva went crazy, is because you got a guy who's green, just showed up to be kind of like there. And you add in ineffective Colin Castleton, and all of a sudden Da Silva is hitting like three threes right in the beginning of the game and getting going and helping the Magic to get out to an early lead. Later on in the game, Jason Richardson's son, Jace Richardson, was carrying the Magic late. But other than that, Orlando Magic didn't have a whole lot to hang their hat on as far as, a team and what they were doing. So, yeah, it was a weird game. I'm really proud of the pluck and the moxie shown by the Raptors to get through the game. And, in some ways, and I called this for the fourth quarter, it's going to be Jamal Shed, Jacoby Walter time, because those guys are the ones with the experience. Those guys are the team leaders on this Summer League team that needed to guide the team in the fourth quarter with excellent play, top-notch play, not turning the ball over in weird ways, getting execution on offense to get some scores. And, Shed and Walter showed up for that late in the game to control the game at the end, where it was kind of close. And there was other people on the lineup at that time, like Jonathan Mobo also, and the rookie, Colin Murray Boyles, who were out there to help keep the level of good play and play really well right at the end and close it out and make sure that we have the right margin of victory. Of course, making some of those free throws near the end of the game would help, gentlemen. You could put the game out of reach, Jamal Shed, if you just make some of those free throws you had at the end there. But yeah, fantastic overall. The Raptors are 2-0 in Summer League, and they're sitting at number 2 on the standings in the overall Summer League standings. So that means, as of right now, we play in the finals against the San Antonio Spurs for the Summer League championship right now, if it is as is. Of course, there's 2 more games to be played to determine more. And after the game, Coach James Wade said, you know what? I'm not satisfied. I'm not happy. We need to win the next one too. So he's looking forward to Denver Nuggets tomorrow night, Summer League Game 3. And when hopefully the Raptors will be 3-0 after that one. And then James is going to say, yeah, I want to go beat the Warriors next for sure. One at a time. And yeah, he's gunning for something. Now, he said also he hopes he can play all of the Raptors on the Summer League roster, the whole entire Summer League. But it's not up to him. It's out of his power. It comes from above, whether Jacoby or Jamal are not going to be available for a couple games coming up. So we'll have to see. I would say Bobby and the rest of the Raptors organization, let Coach James Wade go for it on this. Seriously, I don't like half-assing. And if we can try and make something special happen, it's the middle of summer. Jamal and Kobe can do time and get rest. They can do this and not get all tired and spent. So why not? I mean, I understand if you want to give more time to somebody else to give them a shot to have a chance to play, like Tyson Degenhart or the kid from New Zealand. But still, I want to compete to win on this one. It could set a precedent. And I want to go forward with more and more W's. So let's not half-ass this, Bobby Webster and Raptors organization. Do not uh, uh, stop this great summer league Raptors team by not letting us play some of the better players in the games coming up. Seriously, I don't want to see that. Trevor J is in the house. Commissioner Fun Trevor J, I appreciate you. Let's see what he's saying. Words of wisdom. Rumors can make you dislike incredible people. Do not judge people off of what other people are saying about them. Be wise and get to know them for yourself. Then form your opinion from your opinion, the one you're talking to. Form your opinion from talking to them. Yeah. You may be the one you need to stay away from. You may be the one you need to stay away from. I don't know how you deal with that then. Like, how do you, if you're the one you need to stay away from, but it's you, you are yourself. Yikes. Yeah. I mean, it's true. You should kind of like, people can kind of give you advice or maybe opinions on things, but sometimes you really do need to go investigate for yourself to find out for sure because we're all different people. And it could very well be that your friend may have a certain opinion about somebody because they don't get along with that person and they may just not because it's just, astrology or something. But you may get along with them very, very well. So, you don't want to miss out just because somebody else has a problem with someone. Sometimes it's a very specific thing, and it may not be specific for you. Let's just put it that way. Thank you for the words of wisdom, Trevor J. I appreciate it. It was a close one last night, but somehow we pulled off the win. Yeah, it's not somehow. It's very methodical and very determined and very much, it's a pretty straightforward plan on how we did it. The whole arena is just talking about the defense. The Raptors are showing making teams to turn over the ball 34 times for the Bulls and 29 times for the Magic. So Trevor's at the game because he's in Las Vegas right now, and he was at the Thomas and Mack Pavilion yesterday to watch the game in person. He's saying that the people in the crowd are talking about the Raptors defense. I wonder why. That defense is amazing, and it's really interesting. I think that the interesting thing about the defense is in some of the games the two games we've seen so far, it's about like a two-part defensive play. There's basically like one Raptor who will come and agitate a player that has the ball on the Magic and get them just kind of off kilter, just maybe a little off balance, maybe just a little bit suspicious with the ball, and they may lose it. They don't outright steal the ball then, but they get it dislodged or deflected or just harassed. And then there's like a second Raptor that shows up usually and is the one who actually finishes the defensive play and in retrieving the ball for us. It's very interesting. They're really coming in tandem at the offense of the other team and just harassing them. I was saying this last night in the Discord server. You guys know the etymology of the word Raptor. The word Raptor. You know what Raptor means is to seize. That's what that means in some ways. That's the word it means to seize. And, the initial vision of the Toronto Raptors franchise 30 years ago by John Batove Jr. and Isaiah Thomas of the Bad Boy Pistons was a very defensive-oriented team. In fact, that was something that they really wanted to install right away. It's part of the reason why they got John Sally as one of the original Raptors, that Zeke wanted to have the Raptors be like the Bad Boy Pistons. And, he wanted the Raptors to be in that kind of ilk. In some ways on the download, the Raptors franchise has always been a defensive-minded kind of franchise, but not always. I mean, there were times where we had no defense whatsoever. But our original idea and the way that we have been in a lot of places is to be an extremely defensive-oriented team that's very tough to play against. I say, as Fiercely pointed out last night in the Discord chat, the Vision 6-9 was all about this also. That, building a team with so many strong, long-armed players that are very scrappy and versatile. There was a lot of this kind of harassing defense with Nick Nurse when he was our coach. And we were called terrorists by other fan nations because of the way we terrorized their teams with our defense. This is a whole new level. This is the same kind of stuff, though. But Bobby Webster and Masai before him, with him, still spiritually beside him, built this team with this in mind at this point. I think they were a little bit ahead of the curve and seeing like what was happening with the Thunder and in the finals with people like Cason Wallace, Luguentz Dort, and Alex Caruso. These really dogged, like on the ball defenders that just really make it hard for the other team to do anything easily. And the Raptors are on that trend already. And in this draft, they really did draft two guys and get a guy afterwards that totally fit this mold of spam steal that I'm talking about. This is the spam steal era. And we're seeing it. And it's in the turnovers of the other team. It's in the deflections and the steals and it's not just that. Like I said, they're harassing the other teams into going out of bounds. They're harassing the teams into offensive fouls where Shed falls on his back and we're getting the ball going the other way. There's been a couple of different plays in the first two games where our team is cheering and they're kind of going, yes, after basically a turnover on the other team, because that's what they want to do. It's almost like we're rooting and cheering, not just for an Elijah Martin poster, but also for a Chucky Hepburn, I've just robbed you on the sideline and taken the ball from you. So it's very interesting. And I love this too. Like these guys are taking turns. They're saying like Elijah's like, yeah, I'll go at him. And then Jamal will go at him. And then Chucky will go at him. And it's really, really suffocating. These teams are not having fun playing us. It's not easy to come up against this kind of energy and this kind of skill, because this is the thing. We may have concentrated our whole draft on the steal this year. And boy, is it looking like it right now. It's really looking like it right now. It's amazing. It's so amazing. Yeah, let's keep going with the chat. Trevor's saying the defense that we are showing, we can win Summer League. What are we witnessing from the players? What are we witnessing from the players? They're going all out, and you are not ready. You will get smoked. The crazy thing is, like what was proven yesterday, is we can play very badly and still win with this style of play if we can really keep them hindered also to the same level. And that was amazing. Like, seriously, we did not play well offensively at all. We had a really hard time getting going on offense at different times. And the fact that, we kind of kept the lead for most of the game and then kind of controlled it at the end in certain ways to make sure that they didn't totally come back. Well, that was very masterful in some ways. We had veteran control at the end of the game, and we funneled the game towards our outcome of winning. Because it could have gone either way. The Magic could have done something crazy in the last couple minutes and took power of the game and beat us. But no, Shed and Walter would not allow that. AJ Lawson also. He was very key in this. AJ Lawson, too. Yeah. Let's see. Kaz is here. Good morning, Lex and Raptor Free Crew. Good morning to you, Trucker Kaz. I hope you had a great weekend. And welcome back on Monday morning. Let's go. Good win by the Raptors yesterday. Trevor's saying WNBA winners yesterday. Indiana beat Dallas. The New York Liberty beat Atlanta. Los Angeles Sparks beat Connecticut, and Washington Mystics beat the Seattle Storm. Yeah, let's see the refs for today. There are two games today. Randy Richardson, Marcy Williams, and Jason Alabanza will be reffing a Minnesota at Chicago today. And Phoenix at Golden State will be, the crew will be Eric Bruton, Beneam Maru, and Kelsey Reynolds. Yeah, and our WNBA Fantasy League, congratulations to the winners. We have Edmund winning his first game of the year over Logical Raptors Fanatic. He did it, the impossible. Edmund, you won. Race Mode Daily, you won your matchup this weekend. Kareem Thomas beating James. Fiercey beating MK. Kaz beating Cool Cat. And I've gone up to 7-1, just like Fiercey, beating JP and Reese's Nieces. So have your lineups ready this week. I'm playing We the Race Mode Daily this week. Yeah, you ain't going to win this week, Edmund. I'll tell you that right now. That's right. So get your WNBA team set up. Another week starting today. And there are games on this Monday. There's not always games on Monday, I've noticed. Trevor's saying, I love Jacoby's game. He is special. Yeah, Jacoby is special. He's, what they said on the broadcast last night, I think is very telling. He has an old soul. And I mean, I recognized it last year. There's just something about Jacoby Walter that's old school mentality in his brain. He's not like the regular youngster that's coming up these days. He is old school coded. He has the Rosen code in him. That's what I'm saying. He has the Rosen code. And that's all about work ethic, keeping grounded. And, in some ways it comes through in the way he plays. He can get fouled. He can do all kinds of stuff. He's fundamentally really good in this way and that way. And yeah, there's a lot of things about Jacoby Walter that are very special. And we see them. And this year's weird with the short hair and the headband and the bulk up. He looks physically totally different than he did last year. And I keep forgetting that's him on the court at times. It's like, whoa, 14. Oh, yeah, that's Jacoby. That's Jacoby. Of course, that's Jacoby, 14. But yeah, he's very interesting. We'll talk more about what he did last night. Trevor's saying AJ Lawson, he's a summer league MVP. Yeah, let's talk about this right now. My stars of the game. Of course, we're going to do stars of the game after Raptors games, and we won. So there's 5 stars today. Was not a blowout, so I'm not giving them 7 stars. So my 5 stars of the game. Number 1, AJ Lawson. AJ Lawson, once again, led the Raptors in scoring. He got 2 20-point games so far in the summer league. I have a theory that in some ways Jacoby's stepping aside a little bit, and we saw a little bit of signs of this in the game late with their teamwork to help AJ look good, because AJ's spot on the team is not guaranteed totally. And in some ways, some of the Raptors may really love AJ Lawson, and they're trying to help him in this summer league to get as many shots and get the opportunity to shine. In some ways, AJ Lawson's this year's Jeff Doughton Jr., this year's Jamison Battle in summer league, top level player. And he needs to show up and do what he's doing right now, like he is, so that he can really, really make a strong case that he needs to be on the final roster spot for this team. In some ways, AJ Lawson's competing with Colin Castleton. And, AJ's kicking a lot of ass. Of course, AJ yesterday, perfect from the field, 5 of 5 off the bench, 2 for 2 from 3, 9 of 13 at the free throw line. So getting a lot of his points from the free throw line yesterday. 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, 2 turnovers, a plus 12 with 21 points, stat stuffing also. And we see the effort by Brampton man. AJ Lawson is full out and all out, and he is going after it, whether it's for loose ball, steals, rebounds, whether he's accelerating down the court with the ball in transition to dunk it. The man has jets. And we like seeing the jets. We like seeing the effort. We like seeing the passion. We like seeing the enthusiasm. We like seeing the jubilance, because that man really does love playing for the Raptors. It's totally different than playing on the Long Island Nets. And this man is putting it out there. And I love, in some ways, like the 5 for 5 is symbolic in so many ways with Lawson, because Lawson has been such high quantity, low quality at times in his career that, he's showing that he's changing. And it's like, look, I don't have to shoot it a whole bunch of times and still get 20. So I can shoot it 5 times, get the line a bunch, and I can still get you 20. So yeah, AJ, keep going. I'm rooting for you. I want to see you on Raptors permanently for this year. And the thing is, after the game, they're interviewing him. It's like, how is this stuff going to help you when you go into the season? And it's kind of sad. You can tell in AJ's eyes, he knows it's not for sure. He says, it will translate to the season. He said very confidently, it's going to translate toward the season. He's not saying that totally about the defense. He's talking about how he's going to translate the defense in the season, because he's going to be on the team. Because that's the thing. He's not totally guaranteed. But you know what? If he does what he's done the first 2 games, he should be, is what I'm saying. My second star of the game yesterday is Jonathan Mobo off the bench. And this is the thing I'm going to say right now. Part of the reason why De Silva went off at the beginning of the game is because Mobo didn't start. And the thing is, Jonathan Mobo is like Scotty. He wants the toughest assignment defensively at the start of the game. And that would have been Tristan De Silva. But in some ways, not having Jonathan out there, you had a rookie in Colin Murray-Boyles, and you had Colin Castleton. The 2 Collins were just not effective. And Tristan started feasting at the beginning of the game. In fact, that's part of the reason why Castleton got yanked from the game, is because he was ineffective on defense and he wasn't doing things exactly right. You notice Colin Castleton only played 8 minutes in the game last night. And then there was way more Shamshay in the game later. And, it's because they were totally ineffective on the defense in the beginning. And that is where they're starting. That's the starting point of the Raptors right now, is defense. And we were fucking up on defense right from the start. But we cleaned it up more and more as the game went on, as we changed the personnel. But I would argue that if Jonathan Mobo had started the game last night, he would have shut down De Silva right from the start. And there wouldn't have been any kind of Orlando Magic run right at the beginning of the game. Seriously. Because that's all Jonathan would be concentrating on at the beginning of the game, is shadowing De Silva in an effective way. And Mobo got the guard, high level, all-star, Hall of Fame kind of players in the NBA last year on the Raptors. So he's not afraid of anybody. He said that in his interview. He said, I'm not afraid of guarding anybody in this league. I will go and guard them to my best of my ability. And you know what? He'll do a pretty damn good job on most of them. So I would say that was they needed to give Murray-Boyles a start, because he's a number 9 pick, a lottery pick. And, Jonathan is a 2nd-round pick. And in some ways, Murray-Boyles, he has a certain path. And, I'll talk about him in a sec. But Jonathan was fantastic off the bench, 5 for 9 from the field. A really, really solid game. 12 points with 8 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, only 2 turnovers, a +3. He made both his free throws also, which in some ways in this game, the way those guys were missing free throws, you know what? That looks real good if you made both of them. So, J-Mo, fantastic game. You've had 2 really, really solid summer league games. And in some ways, your status and your place in the rotation and your time with the Raptors is dubious, but you're doing the right things right now to, just like AJ Lawson, to get a lot of favor going into the season, going into training camp and preseason, and figuring out what's going to be going the pecking order of the Raptors rotation. So good job, Jonathan. You're doing a good job of promoting yourself and doing the right things. Jacoby Walter is my 3rd star of the game. Jacoby wasn't totally efficient. Jacoby Walter wasn't totally perfect, but Jacoby Walter had his moments. And that's what matters. Just like in the first game when he had the line drive 3, he hit some very key crucial threes in this game. 6 of 15 from the field, 2 of 5 from 3, 2 of 5 from the free throw line. Now, y'all need to tighten that up. 4 rebounds, 2 steals, 1 block, 3 turnovers, 16 points for Jacoby. He just had really interesting kind of things. He had the buzzer beater right at the end of the first quarter that he made. He had some really, there was a transition play where Shed got the ball, threw it up the court at the end of the game where Jacoby hit a big dunk in transition. You know, there was a lot of really heady scoring at key times where we needed a basket where Jacoby showed up and he put the ball through the hoop, getting 16 points. So yeah, the announce crew lauding him as an old soul and seeing that he is a little bit of a throwback player is interesting. And man, he's something. Like seriously, he's on his way. He's got some really interesting things about him, and we're proud of you, Jacoby. Keep going, keep going. 3rd star of the game. 4th star of the game for me is Colin Murray Boyles. Colin started real shaky. Yeah, he looked really out of place and kind of like a hard time getting his feet under him in certain ways. But as the game went on, we started to see why he's so special. We started to see what he's all about. And the one thing I want to say is we talked about his hands. Colin Murray Boyles got the Kawhi claw. In fact, his numbers, I don't know if they're the same as Kawhi Leonard, but they're very large hands. And you could tell because he got sticky tape on them hands. In the first half, he started showing an affinity for grabbing the ball just out of the air if it's in his vicinity. It's like it doesn't even matter if somebody else has the ball and it's in his vicinity. He could just take it. He could just take it. He has that Kawhi claw. And, if it's a loose ball, he has quick reflexes and he has these huge hands and he just like sponges the ball to him. He has a very powerful presence on the ball, even if he doesn't have the ball. It's just if the ball's in his vicinity, Colin Murray Boyles can do stuff with it. Now, we saw a sequence where he got a huge block on a baseline attempt by the Magic, and then went down the other end of the court, ran the court good, and Jacoby had missed the shot, and there was a rebound coming off, and Colin went up and dunked it right back. Very Barkley-esque offensive rebound putback. Very Barkley-esque, Charles Barkley-esque. Now, that was really impressive. Those 2 moves in a row. And then later on, he showed real presence and maturity for a guy playing in his very first NBA associated game ever. Of Coach Wade leaving him out there in the crunch time with a very close game is dangerous because this guy's so green, and this is his first game. But no, he wanted to show confidence in him and allow him to be out there to because of his exemplary talent with the sticky hands, to be a help with the defense at the end of the game to hold off the Magic and make sure the close game goes in the favor of the Raptors. And that showed a lot of trust in Colin Murray Boyles, that he was one of the 5 that was out on the court at the end. I mean, they didn't have Shamshay out at that point because in some ways you can't totally trust him still. But having Murray Boyles out there with Shed, Mobo, Walter, and AJ Lawson as the senior veteran 5 to close out a close game against the Magic was telling. It was telling. And there's some really interesting things about Murray Boyles' stat line. 3 for 5 from the field. He missed both his 3-point attempts, which isn't a big deal. 2 for 4 at the free throw line. 5 offensive rebounds, which is huge thing for him. 7 rebounds altogether. 1 assist, 3 steals, 1 block, 5 turnovers though. He did have 8 fouls also and 8 points. So yeah, not a perfect game for Colin Murray Bowles, but a lot of promise. And we did see kind of some of the tricks in his bag. And I think we kind of understand what kind of player he's going to be. And you kind of see like how he's going to fit in with the Raptor schemes of things. So it's going to be very interesting to see how Colin does in the regular NBA. This is summer league, and in some ways, this is his first time playing, and we'll have to see how he progresses through summer league and then preseason, and then when he gets that real NBA action. Well, let's see how much of this translates. The sticky hands and the very interesting. Like the other thing I liked about Colin last night was he was able to play defense down low, even as a shorter forward, and hold space and actually stymie taller offensive players from scoring. And that's a big deal. That's a really big deal. Of course, Colin getting the after game interview, and the guys harassed him. Jamal Shed, AJ Lawson, and Elijah Martin coming in and interrupting his interview at the end of the game, which was kind of funny. Pretty funny stuff. Fifth star of the game for me is Chucky Hepburn. I want to give a notice to Chucky. Chucky had a real presence off the bench. He's been playing backup point guard. He's been kind of just solidly facilitating, but he's also been an incredible leader on the defensive attack that has been getting all these turnovers. Chucky was 2 for 4, and all of the shots were three-pointers. It was good to see him drain 2 threes, 4 assists, 2 steals, 2 turnovers, a +5 with 6 points. Chucky's just a presence. Like he really, like these guys are disturbers. They disturb the other team when they have the ball. And the between Chucky, Jamal Shed, Colin Murray Bowles, Elijah Martin, Oshai Abaji, Grady Dick, there's Jacoby Walter. There's going to be a lot of like this kind of stuff with the Raptors hopefully this year. If we're going to really play this style where we're going to absolutely harass people like this, nobody's going to want to play us. And it's going to be it could be very effective, especially if we have a good size group of these kind of players that they can be switched in and out where they don't get tired. Because that's the thing. Colin Murray Bowles looked real tired by the end of the game. Jamal Shed looked real tired by the end of the game because this kind of style of defense and the demands on the players for what they have to exert to go all out to do this kind of defense is going to make our guys tired. So that means that, we're going to have to sub fresh guys in and out regularly. And, you're not going to be surprised to see that our guys are working hard and they're breathing hard because they're going all out on defense. You know what I'm saying? They're going all out. That's just how it is. Honorable mentions to Jamal Shed, helping to lead the Raptors to the victory near the end. Very heady leadership. And also to Shamshay. Shamshay had another solid summer league game yesterday and looked real good. 2 for 5 for Shamshay, 6 of 8 at the free throw line. Really like seeing Ulrich get to the line a lot. And that's very promising. Seeing Ulrich get charity stripe shots is really, really good. And, if that's going to be part of his game where he gets free throws, that's not a bad thing. 4 rebounds for him, 2 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks, a +6 with 10 points for Ulrich Shamshay, who was very, very solid. And Shed, 2 for 7, 1 of 2 at 3, 5 of 9 at the free throw line. The Shed, these other young guys, they have an excuse for missing free throws. You should not, Shed. Seriously, you should not. Missing 4 free throws, unforgivable with you, man. You got to make those. 2 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, 4 turnovers, and 5 fouls for Jamal Shed, 10 points. Not the best game for Shed, but in some ways solid enough in presence and controlling the game to help team captain the game to the win for the Raptors. And that's important right there. All right, let me check in on your comments. We'll go over some more of the box score in just a little bit. Yeah, let's see. Trevor's saying CMB did not score a lot, but his defense looks very impressive. He's got really long arms, and he's just got a nose for the ball. He's good at telegraphing. And like I said, he's got these sticky hands that would just absorb the ball like a sponge. Like this ball's near me. He's just got it all of a sudden in his hands because he got this huge grip, just like Kawhi Leonard. Crazy huge hands, man. And yeah, he looked real good. Smooth's here. WWE Evolution, 10 out of 10. Okay, the premium live event was amazing. Felt like WrestleMania. All right, that's non sequitur. I had no idea. I didn't even know what was going on. The ladies are definitely carrying the company. Okay, Smooth. Smooth wants to talk WWE right off the bat. Right off the bat. Trevor's saying, I miss it. This weekend's gone. I miss it. This weekend gone. Okay, I don't even know what he's saying there. He wants to watch it. Well, you're busy, Trevor. You're doing something more important. You're at the Raptors Summer League in Vegas in person, sitting in the Thomas and Mack, man. I mean, priorities here. Come on now. Yeah, as you said, you can watch it later. All the matches were good, Trevor. Watch the replay on Peacock. Yeah, okay. James is saying Colin Murray Boyle is going to be better with the big squad. I think his strength is in the pick and roll, but we didn't see much of that yesterday. Defensively, he's going to be good. That's what his focus is. I mean, everybody who comes to the Raptors these days, you don't get the ability to just be an offensive player. No, we don't want that. You have to earn the right to be an offensive player. You got to earn it through playing defense first and getting real good on that end of the floor first. You do not get to go immediately to I'm a 20-point scorer on the Raptors. I'm sorry. You have to prove your mettle on the defensive end. And that's all for all those guys, even Grady Dick. Even though he's a more offensive minded kind of player, he has to shore up his defense before he gets more opportunities of court time and shooting. And he has. And that's part of the reason why he's gotten to play more and more and got more offensive shooting. Shamshay said this, and this is great. We had 2 milestones last night with interviews. We had Scotty sit in on the game in the broadcast booth with the announce crew for a good little bit of time. This is such a big step, guys. Scotty Barnes is afraid of talking to the media, or at least he was when he was a rookie. But he's grown confidence and a skill to go and sit down and do an impromptu interview with the broadcast. That's fantastic. And Scotty, you were awesome. Lauding Jamal Shed and other people on the Raptors, and really, really good representation and talking us up and talking everything. And the announce guys were really respectful in their interview with you and stuff like that. But another thing happened yesterday that never happens. Shamshay got a post-game interview. He's been hidden from the press on purpose because in some ways his English has not been that good. In some ways he hasn't felt comfortable. Well, they showed the sign that maybe he's going to be doing interviews this year because he did a post-game interview afterwards. And they asked him, like, Shamshay, last year you were shooting threes a lot. Are you going to be shooting threes this year? And he's kind of like, no, I'm not going to be shooting threes this year. I'm going to leave that to Emmanuel Quickley, Brandon Ingram, and Scotty Barnes. Because in some ways, it's like he understands things. His assignment is to rebound and get the ball for them and play defense. And he's getting the assignment. Shamshay was so illuminating in his interview, hearing him talk and just how he feels. He loves the city of Toronto, but he doesn't like the cold. We knew this already, that he does not like the winter in Canada. And that's fair. The man's from Africa. And in some ways, it is a stark difference. But yeah, really interesting to hear Shamshay speak for really the kind of the first time ever in an interview with the Toronto media after a game. And yeah, he's an interesting guy. He's really smart. You can tell he's really smart, even if things are lost in translation sometimes with him. Even though he's really, really like that. Yeah, James is saying, I also think he needs to work on a face-up mid-range game and then eventually a three-point shot. Yeah, I'm not worried about any of that for Colin Murray Boyles. This year is really going to be just defense. And, anything he gets offensively, a lot of it will be garbage points from offensive rebounds, like that dunk and kind of things. I don't see them setting a lot of plays for him. I don't see him getting set up for post-ups and stuff like that. He may have these offensive skills, but just like in his interview, he understands the drill. It's about him getting his defense up to par with the NBA size and speed. And that's the first priority for him. Everything offensive side is not important. And he's not going to be getting play calls for him and stuff like that. That's not going to happen. We've got, like Ulrich says, we've got Scotty, we've got RJ, we got Brandon, we got Emmanuel. These guys are going to get the ball and they're going to get the shots. Colin Murray Boyles is going to rebound the ball and he's going to try and steal and block shots. That's what he's going to do. So I don't see this. I don't see this yet. He has that kind of stuff. And it will come eventually over time, and he will be an okay three-point shooter eventually too. But that's not the focus in any kind of way right now, James. It's about getting the defensive side locked down for sure. For sure. Yeah, James is saying, Lex, what do you think about Lawson? I think he deserves a roster spot. Microwave scorer off the bench. Yeah, that's a great name for him, honestly. That's a great name for him. He's kind of like what you're right. I would love for this to happen. I mean, this guy's been plotting away in the NBA, trying hard to bust in as a full-fledged NBA player. And he's just on the cusp. He's just right there. And in some ways, well, let's push him on into their Raptors organization because the man's worked hard. He's one of our own. And to me, he deserves it. Exactly what you're saying, James. I think AJ Lawson deserves the last roster spot on the Toronto Raptors team this year. but they're going to leave it open right up until the end of training camp. And in some ways, he's got to do this, what he's doing, yes, last night in these games right now. He's got to do this solidly right up through the preseason and through training camp. And when the final decision is made, hopefully he is crowned the winner of the last spot. I believe it right now, too. I think he has got that spot. He deserves it. That's right. Nako's here. Good to see Gerald. Colin Murray Boyle's shooting is the only thing I didn't really like. Phenomenal rebounder, cheese on macaroni defender, and it's so fun to watch him strip his man. Okay. Well, like I said before, once again, the offense is all secondary thoughts as far as him. It's not something we need to even worry about with him. In some ways, it's all gravy if he is going to score baskets. He will, and he will get baskets because there is talent and there is a finishing touch near the basket where he'll just flip shots in. But like I said, he's not going to get called plays for the most part. He's going to get his scoring through the flow of the game. Whether it's he's running in transition, he gets to finish a transition break, or he's, like I said, he's fighting down low to keep the possession alive and grabbing an offensive rebound and putting it back. That's going to be the way he's going to look this year, guys. Don't expect him to shoot a lot of threes. Don't expect him to get a ball with his back to the basket and he's trying to turn around and do jump shots. No, he's going to be a grunt. He's going to be a defensive drone. And he's going to be out there to use his big, huge hands and his wingspan and his nose to just steal the ball from people. That is his number one priority. And the other stuff is all extra and gravy. And it's not going to happen this year, totally. We'll see signs of it, and you'll see this kind of stuff. You'll be like, wow. But I'm telling you, he's not going to be an offensive focus in any kind of way. So don't worry about that right now. He has time to work on his shot and get better with it and the three-point shot too. Naka's saying Lawson, Jacoby, and Colin or Shed were our best. Yeah, Lawson was definitely one of our best. I really think you can't leave Mobo out. Mobo's been very solid in the first two games of Summer League. Trevor's saying Castleton is not good at all. Always missed defensive assignments. I think he's good as gone. I mean, I don't think he's trying. I've told you this. His energy to me from the outside looking at him is very half-assed, that he's not really going all out in the ways that he needs to do this, maybe by choice because he doesn't really want to make this team. Who knows? Either way, it doesn't matter. He's on the team for right now. We'll see how it all goes. And, if it's going to be between him and Lawson to get on this team, well, Lawson's winning. Lawson's winning, even if we'll be smaller this year in some ways if we make that decision. James is saying Colin made one three-pointer, but it didn't count. Yeah, he said something about that at the end, that they took it away from him. I think he stepped out or something. Yeah. Nako's saying Castleton sucked. Yeah, it's not Castle, guys. It's Castleton. Yeah, I mean, he got yanked. This has not happened very much. This was maybe the worst game he's ever played for the Raptors. And I'm not going to lie. He was out there for only 8 minutes, and he had a turnover, a rebound, and he missed one shot. And -3. Yeah, it's crazy. I didn't even realize he had played so little until after the game. And I looked at the box score and I was like, holy crap, he only got 8 minutes. Yeah, that's not a good sign. Seriously, that's not a good sign. Looking at the rest of the box score, Jamison Battle had a rough game. Not only from shooting standpoint, he got teabagged at a certain point in the game. And this was pointed out by Stargate in the Discord chat that Colin Castleton did not box out his man on the Magic. And all of a sudden, Jamison Battle's getting dunked on his back with the man hanging all over him on his back. That was humiliating in some ways. That's the kind of stuff you don't want to happen, where somebody's teabagging you, jumping up, and you're underneath the basket, and their legs are all around your head. Yeah, you don't want that. But Battle had a tough game. 1 for 6 from the field. They were all three-point shots. 1 for 2 at the free throw line. 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 turnover. A -14 for Jamison, with only 4 points. Yeah, it's just a tough game. He's going to have these kind of duds. But last summer at this time, he didn't have any games like this. He's kind of ensconced. He's got guaranteed money now. And the pressure on Jamison Battle to be top-notch in the summer league isn't there. And that's fine. I mean, he's done the work other than just getting his shot, continuing to have his shot really online. He's bulked up. He's playing way better on defense. And he's really getting better and better at defending and rebounding. So, I mean, you can't get mad at him if he has an off shooting night like he did last night. So, yeah, let's see. Elijah Martin had a rough game too. He came out, but this is the weird thing. We noticed this after the game. Even though Elijah was 1 for 7, missed all 5 of his threes, only got 1 rebound, 1 assist, 1 steal, 2 turnovers, 2 points. Elijah Martin, somehow, some way, was the highest plus minus on the team. And this is the trend the last 2 games. The first game against the Bulls, he was plus 36 or something like that. And then in this one, he's a plus 14. That's pretty cool. We only won by 3. So there must be some sort of winning presence in Elijah Martin when he's on the court, because we're outscoring the hell out of the other team whenever he's out there. And he didn't even score, and he was still that best highest plus minus on this team. That's telling. That's telling. Some people don't put a lot of weight in plus minus, but I'm telling you, in some ways, it's a presence. It may have more. It catches more of the defensive energy, maybe in some ways. The plus minus stat, and Elijah Martin having the best plus minus on the Raptors Summer League team is telling. I'm going to say that on the down low. It's telling. So, yeah, we didn't see any of the end of the bench guys. No Tyreek Key tonight, and no Quincy Guerrier this time. No Jarkel Joyner. Yeah, but great solid 10-man rotation by James Wade. And, there's a lot of defensive dogs on this squad, and they're going to come and mess up the other team. That's what they do, man. That's what they do. They're coming to mess them up. That's right. Let's see who else we got in the chat today. Fiercey's here. Good morning, fam, and happy Monday. We got the dub. My 3 stars are AJ Lawson, Jacoby Walter, and Jonathan Mobo. Special mention to Shamshay, Colin Murray Boyles, and Chucky Hepburn on his defensive prowess. Yeah, it was really fun to go over the game with you guys after the game. We had quite a group in the chat yesterday during the game. We had Fiercey, we had Jillian, we had Stillman, we had Stargate, we had Adriana, we had who else was in there? There was a lot of people in the Discord chat last night talking during the game and getting their voice heard and opinions heard while we're watching the game. It was a lot of fun, and really nice to have conversation during the game with the Raptor Freaks as it's going on. Now, Isaac, thank you for the endorsement. Like, subscribe, touch grass. Scotty and Lex in the basketball. That's right. Isaac, what do you think of Scott's work on the mic yesterday? I thought that he was very well spoken. I love that he said, like, I'm supernaturally good at being a leader. I love that. He didn't even mean to say it that way, but it's like supernaturally good. He's like, I get what you're trying to say. You mean that you're naturally good, and you're just putting a descriptor at the beginning. I'm super naturally good, but it makes you sound like you're a ghost. I'm supernaturally good at defense, woo, or being a leader. Yeah, Scotty actually got asked on the nose by the announcer, what are you doing to improve your 3-point shooting? And what was the first thing Scott said? He said, well, I got healthy. That's what it is. I'm getting healthy. That's what's going to help my 3-point shooting come back. And I love that he said that. And then I think Scotty also put in a little jab at his best friend, Jonathan, when he called him Mogbo. He's like, they're going over. And this is a great thing. You know, the Raptors rookie class of 2024 is going to look real good in the years to come, just like the rookie class of 2016 with Fred and Jakob and Pascal. And over the years, and the announce crew is like, yeah, you guys have amazing rookies from last year with Mobo and Shed and Battle and Walter and Shamshay. And they were going over them. And Scotty mentions, Mogbo. He's called him Mogbo. And of course, I think they was trolling when he did that. He did that on purpose. He knows man's name is Mobo. Of course, he's gonna call him Mogbo in the interview. Hilarious stuff, Scott. And of course, he's jumping up and down on the court when he's sitting over on the bench with Darko. He's sitting right next to Darko for most of the game yesterday. And Scotty's jumping up and getting involved, helping coach, yelling to his teammates, and also politicking with the refs. Scotty is out there talking very closely with the refs during these games. It's very interesting. Cool Cat's here. Coach, how are you doing this morning? Good morning, Raptor Freak crew. Another dub. Raptors Summer League is a vibe. Woohoo! Let's keep it going. It's fun. I mean, I love winning. I know y'all love winning too. I love having a team that gets after it and works real hard. The blue collarness of the Raptors right now is very respectable, and it's attractive to people that love hard-working basketball. These are no lazy prima donnas of the 2010s NBA world. No, this lazy-ass league that we are leaving now because you got to play hard to win. Well, this is the new league, and we're on the curve and the cusp of what the changes are with the wave. And man, I love this team, man. I love this whole spam steal mentality. It's really, really interesting and fun to watch. And it's absolutely a nightmare for the other teams. You could tell, and both the teams we played now, the Bulls and the Magic, were frustrated. They looked tired and they looked a little scared on times when they showed them on camera, just because of the way the Raptors are so relentless. So relentless right now. It's crazy. Fiercely saying our defense was on lock. We caused so many turnovers. That was really good. But on our end, we need to work on our free throws and ball handling. Yep, that's what James Wade said after the game, too. He's like, it's great to get a win, a close win like this, lucky to get a win. But this is the kind of game where you need to learn from it, too, and improve. And he said he'll be happier when he sees the Raptors come back in the next game against the Nuggets, hit their free throws, and take better care of the ball. Because these are exactly the two things he pointed out after the game in the post game too, Fiercely. Yeah, these are the exact two things. Yeah, the Raptors have a really interesting stat, and I'm going to go look at Karthika for a second. She's posted it here, is that the Raptors are getting a turnover on the other team every 76 seconds of game time. That's 63 opponent turnovers and 187 possessions, guys. That's a third of every possession that the other team has had is the Raptors are causing a turnover. That's fantastic, guys. That's absolutely an amazing rate, guys. Seriously. So keep it up, Toronto Raptors. Seriously. I know this is summer league and those other teams are inexperienced. They may be easier to pry the ball from. And even between the Chicago game and this game yesterday against Orlando, you could tell the Magic got the scouting report from the Bulls game, and they were trying some things early in the game to avoid the Raptors' traps and full court pressure. And to some extent, they were successful in avoiding us. But eventually, as the game goes on, we're going to come get them. We're going to come get them. In fact, I want to do something new here. I want to start something with the Raptor Freaks here on Chucky. What is Chucky? Chucky is a doll from Child's Play. He's horrifying. It's like, Chucky, I'm Chucky. Hey, I'm here. I'm Chucky. That motherfucking doll's scary. Well, Chucky Hepburn is scary too. And sometimes the other team may have the ball and they're dribbling around, and we could start doing some things in our home arena. Chucky's coming, I'm just saying, Chucky is coming to get you. And he'll literally take that ball out of your hand like the little doll has a scalpel, like he's stabbing it into your forearm. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, Chucky's coming. You can see him sneaking. He's like out there, like Chucky Hepburn's out there. He's like looking. You can tell he's like coming. And then all of a sudden he just comes up and he takes the ball from the other team. So I feel like he's a horror movie for the other teams. And that the name Chucky is apropos. And we need to play something off of this, fan nation. Chucky is coming. And he's coming to get you. And this ain't no child's play. This is the NBA. And this man has hands of theft. And he's going to steal the ball from you. This is why what he did in his college career at Louisville. He's going to try and come and do this here. This is what he's doing. Is come to steal the ball. ACC Defensive Player of the Year. 2.5 steals a game in his college career. Yeah. Chucky's coming. Chucky's coming. We got to say it all creepy and stuff like that. Make it a horror show for the other teams. Chucky. Woo! I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah, let's go. Let's go. Cool Cat saying this also. The defensive fight between Orlando and Raptors was exciting. I could not look away. I appreciate the effort for the entire game. Yeah, guys are getting on the floor. And this is summer league. That's what the announcers are saying at the end of the game. This Raptors team is playing all out like it's the playoffs. They had playoff intensity with going after the ball. You see these guys hitting the floor to get loose balls and run after it. Like I said, it's a tandem defense. It's like the first guy may not get the ball clean, but he's disrupted enough with the offensive player that they have loosened them up. And maybe it's the next Raptor that's coming in tandem with the first guy that's completing the offensive turnover for the other team. It's amazing. It's amazing. So there's a lot of synchronization and teamwork in the Raptors defense right now, and it's just suffocating. And it's just not fun to play against. Trust me. Orlando was not. I mean, Tristan Da Silva was sweating like he had been sitting in a sauna for 6 hours. That man was working hard to get any little bit of points he was trying to get for Orlando. And he looked like he was overworking, because them Raptors were all over the place, just being a pest and really being successful. Every 3 times down the court, they're losing the ball, and we're taking it. We're taking it. And the way that our bench and people are cheering about turnovers, yeah, it's egging it on. And it's getting, and you got a lot of high caliber defensive players like Chucky, like Colin, like Elijah. They're going to be in competition with each other, and that just amps up the whole thing. It makes it even crazier. It's like, maybe one night Jamal Shed this year won't have the defensive energy to go and be that dogged defender, but Elijah Martin might. And having backups and next man up in this kind of dogged defensive steel mentality, yeah, it's going to be tough because it can be relentless because you can replenish the guy coming out there. Okay, Chucky, you go in and do it for a while now. You go in there and do it. Just harass the hell out of him. It's relentless. It's annoying. It's tiring. And that's what they're trying to do. The big philosophy is we need to throw them off of their offense by just absolutely stifling them. Absolutely stifling the teams we're playing. And we'll have to see how it translates to the regular season. Our regular starters, the new bench mob, and Darko's system against the high level of the NBA. We're going to have to see if we can do this to a certain extent against the big league and the big teams. That's right. It's going to be interesting to see if we can. Yeah, Fiercey saying, I'm glad the announcers paid respect on 2 occasions to Masai and his legacy. Yeah, Masai's always going to be looming over our team forever. He is an important spiritual guide to our team because he's no longer involved. But in some ways, I wonder if he might be. Wonder if Bobby might call him every once in a while and say, Masai, hey, listen, I know you don't work here anymore. Can I just talk to you for a sec? Yeah, would he take that call? Probably, maybe. I mean, the affinity and love is there forever. And, he's always going to be somewhere watching and seeing what we're doing and probably be very, very happy and proud because of what he's built here in Toronto. This is never going to change. That man can dismiss you. That fuckface Ed Rogers can dismiss you, Masai, but the legacy is intact and it will always be there. And we will never forget. We will never, ever, ever forget. That's right. Cool Cat saying Shamshay is coming along with his development. One more year of G League and a little mix of regular season will be great for his next stage of development. Yeah, he's really like this crazy thing. Like he even said it in his interview after the game yesterday. This injury was a blessing. Yeah, getting his MCL messed up by Kenny Chandler falling into him in G League last year actually was a blessing because what he did was he studied harder and he worked out harder and he got bigger with his strength. And he really paid attention from the bench. Like he's not just there being a bump on the log. He's soaking it in. And he really is a willing and eager pupil to learn the NBA style in the game. And man, he's smart. He's a very smart guy. And in some ways, he's showing a lot of really good signs. Like the thing that we want from him right now is a capableness that we can trust him. Because last year he was so green, we couldn't really trust him. There were mistakes left and right, but those mistakes are getting less and less. And in fact, in the first 2 games that I've seen him play at Summer League, I feel like he's ready to play in the rotation for the Raptors. I don't think it's exactly right, but it's close enough that he should be trusted to get minutes on the big squad this year to help our depth at center. And I think that he's definitely a project. There's definitely more that you can get to, but there's a couple things. It's the presence of mind and smarts on his spacing on defense, and then all of a sudden this thing that where he's going to get free throw line trips. These are very, very good developments. And I know it may be that he is one more year mostly on G League this year, but it may not be. I don't know. I'm 50-50 on this. I think that it would do him good to be on G League this year, but I have a feeling this may not be the case totally what happens. And he'll probably be down there for a bit, but he may be more up on the big club this year because he's showing a lot of trust that we can trust him not to be absolutely blowing assignments like Colin Castleton did at the beginning of the game. That he did a better job of following the assignments later in the game and doing things for the Raptors in this game than Colin Castleton. So that's very interesting. Seymour Pape is here. Woof pop, gang. Tight win, convincing victory. What's going on, Mountain Standard Time? Mr. Seymour Pape holding it down in Calgary, Alberta for us. How are you, sir? Yeah, tight game. Maybe a little tighter than we wanted. I was predicting a blowout, but I'm glad that they won in the end. Just win, baby. But yeah, if they be hit more free throws, looking at the team stats real quick, Raptors shot 45%. They had a really hard time scoring at times. They were kind of toying with Orlando too. because they were keeping the lead above them, and Orlando would catch up a little bit, and then they go above them some more. But for the most part, the Raptors were kind of controlling this game on the down low. The 3-point line, we did not shoot well at three. We shot 31% and made 8 of 26. That would have helped a lot. I mean, you could look at Elijah Jameson and a couple other people that did not make any threes hardly. If they make just a couple more of those threes, that percentage goes up, and this game gets busted open wider. The fact that we didn't shoot well from field goal or 3-point or free throws and we won is really kind of powerful. I mean, seriously, the free throws were awful. 63% from the free throw line, missing. We missed 16 free throws, guys. Absolutely garbage. 16 free throws plus 16 plus 3. You're more perfect at the free throw line. All of a sudden, that's a 19-point blowout and a rout. So, you make half the free throws you missed. That's 8 more points. That's a 12-point win, So, in some ways, they left a lot of easy points on the table at the charity stripe, at the free throw line. I know I keep saying that because Jill was bugged by that. She's like, why did they call it the charity stripe? That's what they called it forever, Jill. It's like, it's not a new thing. Charity stripe's always been a vernacular in the NBA for the free throw line because it's a free throw. So it's a charity is what they're saying. I don't know. She didn't like that term for some reason. I don't know why. Rebounding, we did get out, but we did have more offensive rebounds. The assists, they got one more assist than us. We did, though, have 16 steals, and that's a big thing right there. 16 steals for the team. And we're going to get a lot of steals in a lot of games this year. I totally see this coming. This is going to be a big theme for us, guys, what we're doing right now. It really is. Now, the starters for the Raptors may not be able to do it in the exact way, but envision this. All right, we start games with our starters, Scotty, Brandon, RJ, Emmanuel, Jakob, and they do their thing and they try and get started with offense. And if, there is a problem where we're not guarding the other team very well, we pull in the bench mob defensive bulldogs and they just go crazy holding down the other team. It's like a switch from offensive minded players and the starters to more of the defensive minded bench as you see fit. And, if you need an extra 3-point shooter or something like that off the bench, you get Dick or Battle to come in, stuff like that. So it could be that like the bench mob is really kind of a defensive substitution at first, and then you mix in the bench mob with some starters and you get your offense from your starters like Brandon and RJ. And then you get like these defensive dogs in the backcourt like Shed and Hepburn. So it's going to be really interesting how the starters and the bench are played by Darko this season with how our makeup is right now. Blocks, they got one more block than us. The turnovers, fantastic. 29 turnovers forced on the Magic for 34 points for the Raptors. We did have 22 turnovers ourselves. But you know what? 3-point victory. We win. 3-point victory. We win. Just make sure that we had the most points at the end of the game. That's right. Fiercely saying Scotty's interview was good. I appreciate him giving flowers to Shed and Jacoby. Also, he once again showed unselfishness when they were trying to put more shine on him. Such a humble kid. He's just a fantastic leader. I'm so glad we have Scotty. And people that are not liking Scotty and intensifying your voices, y'all are idiots. You're not real Raptors fans. You need to get behind our guy, Scott. He's a fantastic franchise player. And there's nothing he's doing that's wrong. Everybody is saying anything negative about Scott. You're an idiot. You do not understand basketball. And you need to allow us to do what we're doing, seriously, and stop adding to noise that sounds so fucking stupid right now. Seriously, so stupid. Yeah, Scotty, A+ job on the interview. You represent the Raptors right. You represented yourself right. And you're an amazing young leader. And he even got to talk about Coach Hamilton at FSU. And man, Scott, you're just awesome, man. Good job. You repping things right. And it's also cool to get to hear from Anthony Parker during the game, former Raptor Anthony Parker, current GM of the Orlando Magic. That's a very Raptors-oriented content. You get Scotty Barnes and the mic for a little while, and then you get a throwback from the Bosch era. And Anthony Parker, younger brother of Candace Parker of the WNBA. Very, very cool to hear Anthony Parker and see him on the broadcast also. Yeah, he's got that Raptors history. That's right. You know what? He's going to need probably a trivia coming up, guys. I'll give you a little hint right now there. Let's see. Seymour saying CMB has 3 big braids in his hair. Store reminds me of our logo in the 3 claws. Do you think he's doing something with the back of his hair to make it kind of go like our logo right there with the claws there? That's interesting. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. That may be looking into it too deeply, but who knows? Maybe he did do that on purpose. Nameless is here. Good to see my paisano. The whole squad looks like it's leveled up. I love the way CMB grew into the game. Yeah, he was shaky at first, a little bit of first game jitters. In some ways, it's just kind of like getting his bearing. And, he admitted after the game, too, he hadn't played a real game in like over a month. He had an injury since March Madness, and he'd been sitting out. And he really hadn't been back in game action in a real way until that game. So he was coming in kind of rusty and cold from injury and his first game back. And, he found his way more and more as the game went on. He was definitely not very good in the first quarter. But in the second half, he was fantastic. He showed some really good plays, and they weren't necessarily scoring plays. They were plays where he just made differences and did winning plays out on the court. That's the thing. We're adding all these guys that are winners in spirit, like Elijah Martin and Jamal Shed, and we're adding guys that do winning plays and microtransactions on the court constantly, like Scotty Barnes and Colin Murray Boyles. So what's not to like, my paisano? That's right. It's great. It's great. Cool Cat saying, I see some Jordan Kobe style in Jacoby Walter's game. This makes sense because this man really does idolize Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan. And, these are his namesake. So totally makes sense. I mean, listen, it's a lot of weight to put on it. Anybody can name their kid Michael or Kobe and say, oh, you're going to be like them. But seriously, you got to take this sacredly and take this very seriously. If you're really going to honor them and be the way they are and who they are, you shouldn't be running around saying my name is a mix of Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. If you're not going to treat this really, really respectfully and really, really be like, yeah, it'll come off really fake and stupid and like you're a loser if you're going to be like this. So in some ways, there's an extra pressure on Jacoby Walter just because of his name, that he has to live up to the expectations of these people you just named. And in some ways, that pressure is making him better in some ways and making him more quality. Quality control is something I would say about Jacoby Walter. He's very much about quality control and how he plays. Cool Cat saying, I'm in full support of keeping RJ and AJ Lawson, our Canadian players. Yep. Canadian content, CRTC. This is an important thing. Is on the radio, on TV, there's a certain percentage of program that has to be Canadian. And, we should have a certain percentage of Canadian on our team. And, if Boucher is on his way out, we're going to need another Canadian on here, not just RJ. Kelly's gone from last year. And we need at least 2 Canadians on this team. So, Bobby Webster, make it so. And make AJ Lawson the final roster spot. Seriously. I know it's way early to do this. And there's a lot that can still happen. But that's who we're endorsing right now. And hopefully that won't change. And AJ gets it. That's right. Fiercely saying, please, front office, keep AJ, not Colin. Plus, AJ is bought in and keeps saying our culture. It's his culture since he was a child. This kid is bred and born on Toronto Raptors basketball from Brampton, Ontario. And that's why it just hits hard. I mean, that's what I'm saying. The rest of the league may not be able to do anything about this. Pride in being a Toronto Raptor is coming because these kids seen Vinsanity. These kids seen 2019 NBA championship. And you know what? The dreams of young Canadians, a burgeoning pool of talent for the basketball community internationally, it's coming. SGA is the king of the league. And this man is one of ours. In some ways, he has a deep down secret affinity for the Toronto Raptors that he may never, ever get to express fully. Possibly. We'll have to see. Maybe he will. Maybe one day he can come and have that smile on his face like AJ and RJ do about playing for the Toronto Raptors. States, because they can do the math. The Canada's on its way with a lot of huge talent. And the other thing is we have the whole country funneling to us. They got states, cities, that kind of level of territorial loyalty to places. Cooper Flagg's from Maine, so he's loyal to the Celtics deep down inside. That's just how it is. But we got a huge landmass and a huge amount of people to collect from to get siphoned down, that there's going to be more and more people in their heart that they just have a passion to want to play for the Raptors. And in some ways, they can be mad that RJ's on our team, and make all the trade rumors in the world that get him off there. And hopefully we will not trade him. But this is going to happen more and more as time goes on. It's just how it is. The genie's out of the bottle. Vinsanity happened. The Raptors championship in 2019 happened. Toronto tempo WNBA is coming. So this is coming on all fronts, whether it's the men's, the women's, it's international, or it's the NBA, the WNBA. It doesn't matter. Canada's coming. And there's going to be more and more people that have hometown allegiance to the Toronto Raptors, whether they like it or not, Zach Edey. That's right. That's right. That's just how it is. That's just how it's coming. And Jeff T can be scared. He can be saying, I don't like how there's so many Canadians taking over in the finals right now with Andrew Nebhard and Lugetz Dort and Benedict Mathurin. What is this? Canadians are taking over American sport. You xenophobic piece of shit, Jeff Teague. Shut the fuck up. We're going to do what we're going to do either way. And you know what? It's not like that. Don't put these dividing lines. We're all human beings. We just want to play. But hey, Canadians are coming. You're right. But don't be afraid. We're nice people. You're a crazy ass country that's going off the rails. Not us. Trust me. Not us, my guy. That's right. Kareem Thomas saying, as of right now, I'm putting AJ Lawson in front of Grady and Oshai until proven otherwise. See, he's going even a step further. Holy crap. Maybe Oshai and Grady needed to play in Summer League just to hold off AJ Lawson from coming for their jobs. You know, I'm not going to disagree with you to an extent, but man, you're a little crazy. Grady Dick is something else. So is Abaji. We'll just have to see how it all fits in the hierarchy and the pecking order after training camp and whether AJ is going to be on the team. And then we'll see how the rotation hierarchy will be as far as things with that. Yeah, AJ Lawson provides same value as Oshai, in my opinion. They're different players, really, in some ways, but they are similar in some ways. Transition is a strength for both of them. Defense is a strength for both of them. But in different ways, it's like Oshai really is a very strong, crazy athlete. And it's really more speed that AJ works off of. Speed and getting up and down and running around. I think AJ Lawson may be one of the quickest players in the NBA right now. I mean, you see him getting down the court. It's like he put on jets. And he's just like, it's crazy. And it's kind of fun to see him going so fast down the court. Yeah. So you think that we should keep AJ because he can be had for the cheaper than Oshai Abazi. Interesting. Cap-friendly deal. Well, maybe this is the move for Mr. Webster to think about doing down the road. If we're going to try and get underneath, shed some salary to get underneath tax places in the apron. And then, that's true. That's the thing. That position is the most competitive in some ways. The shooting guard is the most competitive spot in the Raptors roster right now with Jacoby Walter, Grady Dick, Oshai Abaji, RJ Barrett's in that spot to start. You know, it's very competitive. Very, very competitive. And AJ Lawson's in there too. I mean, you think about it. There's no way we could have kept going with Jared Rhoden because it's just too much of a glut at that one position. Number 2, swinging into 3. Yeah. Seymour's saying, I was not a fan of drafting Colin Murray Boyles and expressed that in the call-in, but I think my opinion has changed really quickly. The block on one end and then the putback dunk on the other on the same play. Nice pickup, Bob. There you go. Nice pickup, Bob. I like that. You said it was a nice pickup, Bob. No, I'm going to agree with you, man. I mean, this is what I was hoping would happen as far as with Colin, because, you know, a lot of people are kind of like, this pick's weird, but we see what it is now with the sticky hands and the very high IQ ball IQ. The other thing I knew about Colin coming in from South Carolina is that he premeditates. He's a smart player. He can see a couple plays ahead. So a lot of the stuff he's doing and operating, he's a little bit ahead where he's coming to the right spot or anticipating, and that'll cause steals, that'll cause blocks, that'll cause all kinds of good stuff. So he's a little bit ahead of seeing things. Like some people always say, you know, the game slowed down for me and I got better because the game slowed down. It was too crazy and quick, and I was too confused in the beginning when I came to the NBA. But the game slowed down for me, and now I can really understand. We've heard Jonathan say this in the preseason, the summer league already. You know, Shed and Walter talking about the game is slowing down for us. Well, Murray Boyles, it's interesting because with his way of telegraphing and premeditating, as the game slows down for him, he's going to get even better. Because right now, that strength works off of the game slowing down for someone. So it really, because a weird thing, like the game was too fast and crazy for him in the first quarter, But by the end of the game was already slowing down for him in his first NBA level game. So very, very interesting stuff with Colin Murray Boyles, and look for his IQ and his premeditation as being two of the biggest, hugest strengths that he has. And I love that Seymour came around on him already. Like that. I'm kind of with you on that. I wasn't totally sure about the pick, and I'm liking it right now. I'm very much liking it. Seymour saying box office basketball. That's right. You get the popcorn out. It's good stuff. Nako saying that Castleton sucks. Straight up. Nako is number one fan. Number one. Number one. Yeah. Neil's here. Good to see Blackhawk in the chat this morning. Colin Murray Boyles was on his first 5-on-5 since his injury, so his conditioning has to be built back up. These games will help him, but there is such a big gap between summer league and preseason camp. That's true. That is true. And well, baby steps. That's why you do the summer league first for the first orientation. And well, preseason will be a different level too. It'll be in between. And then the regular season games in the beginning of the year. Yeah, that'll be interesting to see what happens with Colin. But I think he's going to be fine. I mean, in some ways, I saw him have a very big dunk putback off an offensive rebound. That showed a lot of athleticism and a lot of moxie. And then another thing I saw with Colin that was really promising is that he played really good team defense in the lane at times in the second half. He took up a lot of space with strength, and he made it hard for Orlando players to score near the basket, even though he was at a height disadvantage. And that's one of the biggest worries I had about him when I scouted him out of South Carolina, is that his height is a disadvantage in some respects. But if he can play a physical, strong defense, pushing his person out away from the basket, and he can help stop and just make them fail at scoring, he's going to be fine. And I saw the early signs that his physicalness and his strength, much like a Kyle Lowry guarding in the post, is going to be okay for guarding taller than him players and playing at the 4. So this was a good development. In some ways, this is a good development. Now, this is in summer league still, and these are rookies, and we'll have to see how it goes against the big power forwards, the seasoned veterans of the NBA. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. There's going to be a learning curve for sure. There's going to be a learning curve. Let's see. James is saying Carter Bryant is the other prospect I wish we drafted. He's a menace on defense, but I'm happy with CMB. Yeah, Carter Bryant in some ways is a longer arm, a longer, bigger guy, and it's nice that he's on the Spurs. At least I feel like that. But yeah, in some ways, woulda, coulda, shoulda. I'm glad it's Colin. He's going to be very interesting. He's going to be very, very interesting. I like him so far. Seymour saying CMB said he knows Scotty is going to get him as a rookie. Hopefully, he is nice and light with the hazing. Laugh out loud. Well, they're going to have to do that. RJ, yeah, and they're going to have to do that. That's just a rite of passage. If I was an NBA rookie, I'd want it, because that's just part of this, the coming into the society and you know, initiating. You know, the hazing of the rookies isn't anything malicious or violent or crazy, like a crazy frat at a college. They're killing kids by over drinking them or something like that. No, it's very simple. You carry a children's backpack, and you may have to sing a karaoke song at some point in a bad key in front of people in public. You know, it's that kind of stuff that you have to do as a rookie for the Raptors. Maybe there's some rookie duties behind the scenes that we don't know about. We've heard people have to get playing cards for the flights, things like that. It used to be you have to get orange juice for people sometimes, stuff like that. So, yeah, I fully expect, you know, Murray, you want to do this, bro. You want to do this, Murray Boyles. You really do, because this is a rite of passage, and you want to have the stories when you're older about going through the rookie hazing and stuff like that. Colin Murray Boyles had a lot of interesting things to say. He had an interview this weekend where he was being asked, what nickname do you want for yourself? And he rejected them all. And he basically said, I would like the fans to just come up with the nickname. CMB is fine. Now, an interviewer asked him, would you like to be RCMB? And he's like, what is that? And he's like, well, that's the police here. And he's like, nah. He's like, nah, I don't want to be RCMB. So y'all, if you hear that nickname RCMB for Colin Murray Boyles, reject it, because he's rejected it always already himself. He does not want to be associated with Canadian law enforcement. So RCMB, whoever came up with that, it's not going to work. And go back to the drawing board, and we'll see what his nickname naturally becomes over time. You know what I'm saying? That's right. That's right. Let's go. Kaz is saying Mike lost to Edmond. I know. Mike was on autopilot, and Edmund just had a good week on autopilot, and he got him. I know you're dead on that one, aren't you, Cash? He's like, how did that happen? How did that happen? I know it's funny because in some ways, I don't think Edmund had won a game in like 2 or 3 years. He's basically been a easy win, a bye week for everybody. But yeah, Mike, you managed to lose to Race Mode Daily in the WNBA Fantasy League. That is a really bad accomplishment. Let's just put it that way. Reggie's saying Ulrich is always bringing up cold in Toronto. Why? Because he comes from Africa, and he did this during the season. I'll give him a pass. He's very young, and in some ways, he doesn't really understand the history with this and the Raptors and like fans going at him. In some ways, people aren't going to go at him for this because they understand he's a young kid and he's from Africa. In some ways, we love him so much. I don't see Raptors Nation turning on Shamshay because he's complaining about the cold. It's natural. I mean, think about it. This man's used to being in Cameroon on a farm. And, it's probably way different climate. And that's just how it is. I mean, it's way closer to the equator there, isn't it? Right? So, I mean, it's fair. In some ways, I want to give Shamshay a weather pass out of everybody. In some way, we don't want him pissed off. We want him to stay in Toronto. And you know what? I would kiss Ulrich's ass. As far as like, you stay in Toronto, Ulrich. Yeah, it is cold here. I'm sorry. You live in the path. You can walk under there and don't even worry about going up there. There's a picture taken at Summer League with some of the Cameroonians. In effect, we had Yves Missy, Ulrich Shamshay, and our former player, Christian Coloco. And that picture was sad. It looked like Christian was very, very sad. His energy looked kind of like this. And then Shamshay's aura is just beaming and prideful and just smiling huge. It's like you can really see a stark contrast in the auras of Ulrich Shamshay and Christian Coloco in that Cameroonian picture that they took with Yves Missy. Yeah, you can tell there's something is a little bit different of a shine coming off of Ulrich and his happiness and Coloco's. Coloco's is not looking happy, man. Not looking happy. Wayne Strainer's here, Sergeant at Arms of the Raptor Freak channel. Thank you, sir, for being here and all you do and keeping the order on the channel. Morning, Raptor Freaks. Good game of basketball. To my point before, IQ and Shed will need solid defenders with them if they're exerting excess energy on defense on top of their offensive duties. Well, it's all for one and one for all. If we think about the aggressive overshooting defense of Nick Nurse, Gary Trent Jr., and Fred VanVleet from a couple years ago, well, this is kind of the next evolution. And what the whole thing about this defensive system is it needs new safeguards after the fact. You get past one of our defenders. Well, we've done a lot of like recovery kind of lines of defense afterwards. That's why we got people like Yak patrolling the paint, just in case somebody does get by their defender, and Yak can be the last line of defense or somebody in the lane. Now that we have Murray Boyles, Scotty also, these guys can be shot blockers also like Yak. Sandro, so it's different lines of defense, and really kind of we're making the moat, the middle of the court, and Elijah and Jamal and Chucky, they can go at those people in the middle of the court and mess them up. And in some ways, they do all the defensive work right there, and our guys don't have to do anything, but the guys behind them are ready just in case the ball gets past them. And then it's like rotating to the open man. Like if they get past us and there's a double on the ball handler, they're going to try and get it the open man for a quick shot somewhere, usually in the corner for a three. But the Raptors have to scramble and recover and rotate just as quickly as possible to the ball every time. And if they are not rotating quickly to get to the ball, they're getting benched is basically what's happening here. So that's the whole mechanism of it right there. It's, they may beat the defense, but I'm telling you right now, the way that we built that barricade at the half court with these crazy strong guards is making it really hard. Even if they get through that barrier, they're not coming through cleanly. And often there's a ball that's loose and they're a little shaky after that. And we may get the turnover on the next part because they had already rattled them at half court. It's very interesting. Reggie's saying it's irritating me now. More than half the NBA is in cold weather cities. It doesn't matter. I mean, Shamshay, I can understand this. I can totally understand this. You got to understand. And DeMar says the same thing still. I seen a DeMar DeRozan interview in the last week where he said, the biggest thing that I had to deal with when I went to Toronto was how cold it was. I wasn't ready for it. And it was totally weird and different. But this doesn't take away the love for our city. We have to stop being so sensitive because these guys love this city, but it's true. It does get fucking cold here in Toronto in the winter, but you're right. It is cold in other cities like Boston, Chicago, New York, and Milwaukee, Minnesota. Yeah, Seattle. Yeah, there's a lot of cold northern cities in the winter. We get this, but Shamshay's not playing for any other teams. He would maybe say the same damn thing if he was a New York Knick. So it is what it is. I want Raptors fans to stop being so sensitive to this in some ways. I get it. If somebody maligns our city or our country, yeah, we come after them on social media. But in some ways, being honest about the weather isn't really coming at us. In the past, that may have been a little bit more of a problem because we didn't really think anybody respected us. And they're just dissing us. They're saying, oh, I don't want to go up there for taxes, customs, or the weather. But in some ways, we are bona fide now. We have a prestige, and people are attracted to coming here. So we don't have to be as sensitive about this. And more often, guys are coming up here. They're loving it. They're enjoying it. Shamshay said amazing things about the city besides just the weather. He said he loves the multiculturalness of it. He loves the fact that he can get anything he wants from around the world in Canada and Toronto. So he said like probably 5 or 6 good things and just one bad thing. And that's it. So I feel like we are at a point in our franchise history. We need to stop being extremely sensitive about the weather talk in some ways because it's just how it is. It's just how it is. Seymour's saying winter cities are prime for entertainment, but warm cities, people get out and do stuff. This is true. This is why, in some ways, why the Miami Heat have problems with their attendance is because there's way more to do outside in the nice weather. In some ways, this is part of what contributed to the Grizzlies leaving Vancouver. Is because there's a lot to do outside for people in Vancouver away from being inside. They want to do their own sports. They don't want to watch people play sports in Vancouver. They want to do their own sports individually as people in society, ride my bike, hiking. I'm going to go play tennis, stuff like that. So this is true. This is true. In some ways, basketball is built for the winter and being inside a warm gym. And northern cities are kind of on the down low better for this. But also in the same token, southern cities may have less attendance, especially hockey games. Who the hell wants to sit inside a hockey rink in the middle of a very beautiful outside day in like a cold hockey rink down in Florida? No, not many people do. I'm just saying. That's why they have to give them Stanley Cups down there because they'll come to the game as winners, stuff like that. Let's see. Seymour saying Cole Anthony signed with the Bucks. CP3 ain't going to Milwaukee. Yeah, I wasn't expecting Chris Paul to go there. I'm expecting him to go to the Clippers. That's probably where he's going to go. Yeah, I'm really thinking the Bucks are horrible now. Like, this is really a bad collection of guys they're getting together. There's some people are bragging about who they got. Kevin Porter Jr., Kyle Kuzma, Cole Anthony, re-signing Gary Trent Jr. Oh, I'm sorry. This is not it, Milwaukee. And if y'all are worried about losing Giannis, you should be. Because this is going to be a disappointing year for you guys with a bunch of losers on your team. And all of a sudden, Giannis might be wanting to leave next summer because this may be his last straw as far as wanting to give the Bucks a chance to get back to somewhere a level of championship. Man, this is not an impressive team. You're taking a cast off that the Magic didn't want and the Grizzlies didn't want either. And you want him on Milwaukee and Cole Anthony? This is crazy. Kyle Kuzma, I already said y'all screwed up when you flipped Chris Middleton for Kyle Kuzma. Yeah, I don't know what the Bucks are doing. They're a horribly run GM right now. In some ways, the Milwaukee Bucks are the same as the Phoenix Suns. Very, very poor management in the front office right now. And anybody who's excited about this edition of the Milwaukee Bucks, you're fucking crazy. Y'all have lost Brook Lopez and Chris Middleton in the last year. And those two guys are two of the biggest parts of your team besides Antetokounmpo. And what'd you replace them with? Kyle Kuzma and Miles Turner? No, this isn't going to be good, Milwaukee fans. Y'all are sliding. And the rest of the East is getting better around you, Atlanta, Orlando, Detroit, us. We're going to jump over you. Watch. We're going to jump over the Bucks this year. I'm going to predict this right now. Stargate saying, complaining about Colin Murray-Boyle's offense and looking at his three-point shooting is like looking for Dennis Rodman to score 25 points by shooting mid-range jumpers and three-pointers. He does have a three-point shot, and it'll get better and get more honed. But yeah, I get what you're saying totally. I mean, once again, scoring first fans are always going to be tainted by their own proclivities and biases as far as overimportance on offensive stuff. And in some ways, there's a lot of things with our young players that y'all need to just let them grow defensively, whether it's Shamshay, Colin Murray-Boyles, Elijah Martin, Chucky Hepburn. Don't, these guys score. It's not expected. They are not dependent for us to win, to score. We're not trying to depend on them. We've got other guys we're dependent on to score to get us through the games. Now, if they add points and they have a game miraculously, Elijah Martin comes out with a 25-point game in the middle of the season, that's fantastic. It's helping us to win, but they're not going to be dependent on night in, night out consistently like RJ Barrett, Brandon Ingram, Scotty Barnes, and Emmanuel Quickly will be. That's the thing right there. That's the thing right there. That's right. That's right. CMB's interview was great. Good outlet. I agree. Listen, he was asked, what are your goals for this season? And he kind of said, I don't really have any specific individual goals for myself. I'm not really thinking that way. I'm thinking team first, and I want to help this team win. I know that the other stuff will come with good work and progress in this league, and that the accolades are not important to me. He said that. He said that in the interview. Now, if he did mention the rookie team, who we'll have to see. In some ways, it's not important to him. It's not one of his goals, and that's a good sign. Because in some ways, like I said, he's going to be off the bench. He's going to be a role player, and he's not going to be expected to score for us. So the path towards a rookie team selection is not very good. Let's just put it that way. If it's going to be this track that's for him. But this may be better for him in the long term as an NBA player having a long, successful career if he builds himself the right way at the start like this. I love Scotty getting on the broadcast yesterday saying Jamal Shead should have been on the rookie team. He said that straight up, and he's exactly right. I mean, I was saying it on this broadcast in the morning around that time when they came out with the rookie teams, that overlooking Jamal Shead to be on the second team all-rookie is going to be a big mistake in the long run. They're going to see that. Even Walter's going to look something, and everybody's going to be like, why the fuck did everybody ignore the Raptors rookies in the 2024-2025 season? It didn't make no sense. It didn't really make no sense. That's right. Fiercely saying congratulations to Edmund for his first fantasy win of the year. Yeah, I know he's won ones in the past, but he hadn't won in a long time. I don't think he won any games last year. So he may not have won any games since 2023. And he finally won one yesterday against Mike. It's crazy. That's right. Big up to Chucky Hepburn. Yeah, Hepburn's cool, man. Chucky's coming. Look out for Chucky. Chucky gonna come up and stab you in the back with a scalpel and steal the basketball from you. That's right. Chucky's coming. Woo! Make it a horror show. That's right. The Raptors defensive house of horrors. We've got the Chucky doll. That's right. Cool Cat saying defense wins games. Defense wins championships. We keep that at the forefront always, then progression will come. That's what Ingram said when he said we're going to playoffs. He said we're building championship habits. And he's already determined the Raptors got the defense right. It's just we got to fix the offense, and I'm going to be a big part of that. I love hearing this from Brandon Ingram's mouth. In some ways, it's like, look, man, I'm so glad Brandon came out and said that interview the way he did. He really does bona fide. Like in some ways, people may listen to Brandon a little bit more than some of our other players because of his history, being a former Laker. He has a certain level of respect from his career already and his accomplishments. So maybe some of the American NBA fans will hear that interview with Brandon, and it'll actually give us more bona fide in their eyes as far as saying, well, he's credible. He's credible. Brandon Ingram's credible. Man, if he thinks they're going to make the playoffs, man, I have a feeling the Raptors might be better this year than I think. So in some ways, Brandon coming out and saying that's huge. It's huge. The vote of confidence from him and what he's saying. I know he's not going to say something the opposite, but he didn't have to say that. They asked him in the interview, and he really deliberately thought for a second before he spoke. He really kind of thought about, well, I want to say this because in some ways he knows he can step into it. If he says something, it'll get quoted and it'll be there forever. And in some ways, him saying, yeah, I think we're going to make the playoffs. I know we're going to make the playoffs. That's a big, in some ways, it's a risk. And it's also kind of like he's putting himself out there to be looking bad later. So he's going to really want to get us to the playoffs so he don't look stupid at Summer League in the interview he just did. That's right. That's right. That's right. Stargate saying it's not necessary for his role. We need to move away from this modern day Steph Curry mentality. Not everybody needs to be a three-point shooter anymore. I completely agree with this. I feel like people are so stupid thinking that the three-point shot is just mandatory for every single player that comes in the league. You know what I blame? The fact that we've had really skilled centers that shot a lot of threes. They've given this whole idea that the stretch three is just really important, and it's just absolutely necessary. It is not absolutely necessary. You can find different ways to win NBA games. And just because some people have the weapon of a stretch three, like a Kristaps Porzingis, doesn't mean everybody needs to have that. You can solve the puzzle a couple of different ways in the NBA to winning. And there's only a certain amount of individuals that do different things in the league. Everybody's going to have their different way of trying to get to the Larry O'Brien. And in some ways, it's about your own personnel and your own path and your own coaching, your own design. And it's not that everybody has the same design out of all 30 teams. So Raptors fans, just allow the Raptors to do it their way and go their way, and stop comparing us to other teams and saying we need to be doing this different because these other teams are doing it this way. That's bullshit, because they are not us, and they do not have the specific individual players we have on our roster. So it's always faulty when I hear people rationalize what the Raptors should be doing is because the rest of the league is doing this. Fuck that shit. They can be copycat league. In some ways, we copycat the rest of the league, but we do it on our own terms and we do it in our own way. And Raptors fans need to stop, in some ways, not even intentionally gaslighting our own team by saying, oh, no, they need to be this and this. You don't fucking know jack shit about what the Raptors should be. You're not in the NBA. You're not Bobby Webster. You don't live on the moon. You are not Masai Ujiri. And you guys can act like you know everything in the world, but it's not true. You do not know what's best for the Raptors often when you're saying, well, if we had more three-point shooters, if Yak could shoot threes, we'd be so much better. Yak is the worst player on our team because he can't shoot threes. This is such a misinformed, idiotic stance and opinion. And it's been very prevalent in Raptors Nation in the last few years. And it's absolutely stupid. Absolutely stupid. That's right. That's right. Let's keep going. Let's see. Wayne is saying Raptor freaks yapping about basketball in winter cities after our best start in Summer League in years. Martin is my choice for that extra player needed for a championship run. He's a winner, like Shed. On a two-way, already ensconced, will be appearing on the Raptors and the 905. In some ways, I would love to see Elijah Martin take over on the 905 this year and be a big-time winner for them. I want to see him do things for Coach Andrew Jones that are clutch and allowing the 905 to get the victories because of his very, very good winning mentality, similar to Shed's on that level. Yeah, they had the coach of the Florida Gators interview also in the broadcast yesterday, Golden, and it was hilarious. He's talking about Castleton and Elijah, of course, his two Gators that were involved in the game on the Raptors. But did y'all notice during the interview with Golden, the coach of the Florida Gators, that a gentleman behind him in the crowd did this motion? That's right. Scotty and I smiled real big when we saw the Florida State tomahawk chop going at the back of the Florida Gators men's head coach, Golden, in his interview. That, you know, if you're a Florida State fan or a fan of college football in Florida, well, you knew exactly what happened there. And it was a little bit of a rivalry versus where a Florida State fan was behind the Florida coach and he was tomahawk chopping him in the back. And I had a big smile as a Florida State Seminole alumni right here. And I know Scotty Barnes, if he saw it too, he'd probably laugh about it too, as a Seminole himself. That's right. I love that. I love that. Florida State everywhere, baby. Let's go. Yeah, if did y'all catch that? Seriously, if you're watching the game, did you catch that? Shaq Lindsay saying, think about how incredible our second lineup is going to be on defense. CMB, Mobo, Oshai, Shed, and Jacoby. Oh, I forgot Chucky. Yeah, Chucky's like even more insurance. And I feel like Chucky, once again, just like Elijah, is going to have a lot of 905 time. But who knows? I mean, if these guys are really good defensive stoppers and that have huge effects, Darko may employ them on the big squad in scenarios where he wants to have them in there for extra, like Davion Mitchell, Bulldog kind of mentality, energy out there, you know, that kind of stuff. Yeah, let's see. Kareem saying it's crazy that the summer team is setting the tone for the NBA season. Well, this is the way Darko designed it. You know, this isn't even just them setting the tone. This tone has been set since Darko took the job. He's been setting tones and culture and the way he wants to do things since the first day he took the job 2 seasons ago. And this is just the latest chapter and the newest development and the latest jump in the development of our mentality and our identity as the Raptors under Coach Rajakovic. So yeah, it is a tone being set, and it's new. It's a new tone for sure, but it's been built off of some of the layers that we've already been doing to get to this point. James is saying 63 turnovers in 2 games. Teams are getting locked up. Yeah, it's fantastic. Like we said earlier, the Raptors are causing the other team on both games to turn the ball over every third time down the court. Every third time that team is turning the ball over one way or another. And that's fantastic. The other thing is we're seeing a proclivity for the referees to start giving us calls.
because the effort of the Raptors on the court is going all out. And refs love this kind of stuff. They see guys hitting the court to try and get loose balls in a summer league game. They're playing with the playoff intensity. The referees are like, no, the Raptors get this call because look at the way they're working their ass off. Yeah, that's out of bounds on you, Orlando, because look at the way the Raptors are working their ass off. So you get more favor the more work you put in the game from the referees. That's always been the case. And we had a weird crew yesterday. We had Chalisa Painter from the WNBA out there, and then we had two FIBA refs that were refereeing, two guys that were not NBA refs normally, Italo Arujo and another guy. And that it was different. I didn't recognize them at first. I'm like, who the fuck are these refs? These are really different refs. And they're not a single NBA ref in this group yesterday we had for our game. It's very much a FIBA crew that refereed us yesterday and a WNBA ref. Two FIBA refs and a WNBA ref for our game yesterday. Yeah, let's keep going. Stargate saying you never saw them complain about Charles Barkley's three-point shooting or Karl Malone's or Anthony Mason's, Rick Mahorn's. Stop focusing on whether, not a player shooting threes. The three-point shot wasn't as important way back then. It really is Steph Curry's era that put it so important. So, yeah, but Barkley would shoot threes from time to time, but it was really kind of just goofing around. Murray Boyles will shoot the three. He does have that skill. He's a confident, good three-point shooter. It's just that it may not translate right away in the NBA, partly because he's a shorter player, and there may be taller defenders guarding him on the outside where he won't get as many open perimeter shots. In some ways, we don't want him to try and force three-point shots if it's something that he's not totally savvy and feeling confident in. Over time, as he feels more and more confident, he should. But this is, like I said, this is not the first building block that Colin Murray Boyles needs to focus on in the initial part of his NBA career. It's really locking down the defensive level that he has to play at to be in the NBA. And that is the most important one right there. Shaq Lindsay saying, when our starters put up leads, we can rely on our bench to sustain those leads with our incredible defense. Yeah, I love that. I remember in the original bench mob days, sometimes we were waiting for the bench to come in. The starters were okay. It's fun to watch DeMar and Kyle and Jonas and Terrence Ross and Amir Johnson. But it was really fun to see Jakob, Pascal, and Fred come in, Norman, and DeLon. And part of it was always weird. Like during the bench mob era, sometimes the Raptors starters were horrible to start the game. And they would shit the bed absolutely from the beginning. And then we bring the bench in halfway through the first, and they would go crazy and take the lead for us, and we'd start kicking ass then. This was very much the pattern in the original bench mob days in 2016. That the first team would not totally start well, and then the bench mob would save them and actually outplay the other team. Now, some of it was the other team would be bringing their bench in, and our bench was so much better than their bench players that they just absolutely outclassed them and outplayed them. So we'll have to see if this is part of the effects for this year, that we see a bump up when the bench comes in, partly because of the defensive intensity, but it may be kind of like what you're saying here, Shaq Lindsay, is that our starters will get a little bit of a lead and we can feel comfortable with the defenders keeping that lead while they're out. And in some ways, we can think about the bench from a couple of years ago, led by Malachi Flynn, and how they always gave up the lead once they came in, and they just did such shitty things. We'd have a lead by our starters, and then Malachi and Terrence Davis and all them would come in, and they'd fuck up that lead in the first quarter afterwards. We'd have a 10-point lead with the starters halfway through the first. And then Malachi and his crew would come in and we'd be down by 10 by the end of the first. It's crazy shit like that. So the bench mob is here when we see them play so well that it's like we go up to another intensity level after the starters come out for the first time. That's when we'll see it right there. Neil's saying James Wade is playing AJ to reward the team for playing hard. He doesn't have to showcase a 5-year G Leaguer that will be in Raptors preseason camp, but the guys want to go for it all. He's definitely made the signal in the interview afterwards, James Wade saying he wants to play all out. He's definitely doing this to play to win. And he knows that he may not totally get the chance to have all of his resources available to him. It could very well be that the front office calls him and says, yeah, you can't play Jacoby on this game. He's done. We're shutting him down for preseason. As James Wade could have his way, he'd have all of the guys who are at Summer League available for the whole entire run so that we can give the best absolute effort to win Summer League. This is what I would tell Raptors fans. Part of the reason why we've never won Summer League is we short ourselves and we take guys out and we we care more about seeing the looks of the guys at the end of the bench as Summer League goes on. So you'll see more Tyson Degenhart and Tyreek Key and Quincy Guerrier as we go through, and less Jamal Shed and Jacoby Walter. So James Wade has already signaled it's not up to him. He will play the hell out of these guys like AJ Lawson right up until the end of Summer League just to get that chip. But it's not up to him. The front office is going to pull the cord on some of these players that are top guys at Summer League, and they will not be available to James in a couple of games. It could be as soon as the next game tomorrow that we don't see Walter and Shed suiting up for the Toronto Raptors tomorrow night. Hopefully they will, though. If Wade has his way, he'll talk them into letting him. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Let's see. Kareem saying, what a breath of fresh air. The announcers yesterday were a fun tandem, not like 3D and the guy who's shaped like a bowling pin. He's talking about Chris Miles. All right. Yeah, the announce crews, I think they figured out that, like, ESPN and NBA TV, if you're going to play a Raptors game against Magic, half of the audience is probably going to be Raptors Nation. So putting down Canada or ignoring the Raptors is not doing you any good. So they embrace things. Now, ESPN and their regular coverage with their talking heads and First Take and Sports Center, they can ignore the hell out of us. But when we're in front of them on TV and they're calling the game, they cannot be stupid and not call what they see. So it's like the Raptors come out there, they kick so much ass, they play a certain level of the playoff intensity defense. The announce crew just has to respect them and call the game as what they see. What could you imagine them like trying to perceive the game against the Raptors last night and saying, oh, the Raptors are so sloppy. Look at how they're just all over the place. They're totally manhandling the Magic and they're fouling them. I don't know why the refs aren't calling fouls. They could be biased against us, but they would be not telling the truth. Obviously, if you were watching the game, the announcers could be all anti-Toronto, but they can't because we are so badass and we look so good and our defense was so awesome. They have to praise us. They have to. It's like we force them to praise us. And I love that. I love that. Those guys may have been cackling little jackals. If the Magic were running roughshod over us, yeah, they could have been like that. But no, we made them respect us. We made them respect us. That's right. James is saying CMB gets buckets from his highlights. He's not just a defensive player. He's a two-way player. He may be in college, but we don't know what he is in the NBA yet. You can't predict this for sure, James. In some ways, I think he will be. But all I'm trying to say is this is not the part of his game that they're trying to work on. He's was much saying this in the interview. He knows the drill. He knows the assignment. Get defense down first. The offense stuff will come later. He may very well be a very good two-way player down the road, but that's not the focus for him this season. That is not the focus in the least for him this season. He's going to get baskets. I'm not saying he's not going to score, but don't expect him to get play calls for him. He's going to get baskets the hard way, the garbage way, the cleaning up the boards way, and just being an opportunist and being in the right place way, that kind of stuff. You know, he was asked, which would you prefer, a poster or a game-winning shot? And well, he said, I'd prefer the poster because my DNA is not usually game-winning shot. Not that I wouldn't love having a game-winning shot and hitting one, but it's more likely I'm going to get a poster dunk where I dunk on somebody's head than I'm going to hit a big game-winning shot in clutch. That's his own words, Colin Murray Boyles. That's what he's saying right there. Chucky's coming. That's right. They didn't get all scared. Chucky's coming. Woo! It's like, yeah, I love that. I would love the Raptors bench led by Scotty Barnes to start some sort of weird Chucky's ominous coming kind of like chant from the bench. Like, it would be really scary. Like, the other team would be like, what the fuck are the Raptors bench doing? They're like, Chucky's coming. Chucky's coming. Maybe they could do something crazy. And then all of a sudden, Chucky steals the ball and they go crazy. Wow. See, we're saying, remember, wash your damn hands. Okay, there you go. There's some words of wisdom from Seymour Pape. Thank you. Blessings to the Pape family and all the Raptor Freak families out there. Wash your damn hands. That's the words of wisdom stylings of our man, the sheriff, out in Calgary. Shaq saying defense always translates to the regular season. Yeah, I hope so. We'll have to see. Like, once again, the big difference will be, like, we're playing against summer league teams with guys who've not played in the NBA much, and they're a little more susceptible to coughing up the ball. The veterans of the NBA may have a little bit more bag of tricks to try and, like, ward off our very frenzied attack. So we'll just see what the rate of turnovers is. If it's every third possession, like it is in summer league, hey, but it's likely to be less than that. It's maybe more like every quarter possession, every fourth possession, we're making them turn the ball over. We'll have to see. Who knows? It does translate, though. I agree with you. But what level, with the skill level of the veterans and the older players in the league that understand that kind of pressure and how to get around it? Shaq Lindsay saying, think about most teams have one or two defensive players on their team. None of them have defensive second units. Advantage Toronto. Yeah. And our front line, our first team being so offensively gifted is really going to help. And there really does seem like there's lines being drawn on these are the guys, our go-to guys, Brandon, RJ, Emmanuel. Some ways people are saying, well, how the hell are the Raptors going to get all the balls to all these guys, Scotty and Emmanuel and all that? There's too many of these good scorers on the Raptors starters. Well, maybe because they're going to be out there for most of the game, and they're going to be adding in defensive bench players around maybe one of the starters that scores every time. I mean, I would say this, Darko, you're going to need to have RJ, Scotty, or Brandon on the court at all times, one of those three, and probably either them or Emmanuel too. So it's like if you could have two out of those four guys on the court at all times, that's even more badass. But at least one of them, so that you have a go-to offensive safety valve in RJ Barrett or Brandon Ingram, that if you're in trouble, you can get the ball to them, and they're such a prolific high-level scorer, they're going to make the basket. So I would say, Darko, you always mandatorily have to have at least one of Scotty, RJ, Emmanuel, or Brandon on the court at all times. All times. I'm just saying, unless it's a route and we're kicking their ass and we can play the bench safely at that point. Yeah. Let's see. Smooth saying charity stripe is considered giving points away. That's what it means. Charity stripe? Well, it means free throws. That's what it is. Charity stripe. You mean giving points away? Yeah. I mean, free, charity. It's the same thing. That's just Jillian had never heard that. Sometimes there's weird blind spots with Jillian and the things that bother her. And it's really weird. Shaq Lindsay saying Shed is the new Lowry. I think he's the new Fred. In some ways. I think that in some ways there's Lowry-esque qualities to him, to Elijah Martin, to maybe even Chucky Hepburn. So, yeah, I feel like Shed is more like Fred because he is going to be the bench mob guy. And, well, Shed Van Vliet, number 23, same number, same person. Fred's so awesome. Fred, the new president of the Players Association. You know, I seen a new interview from the last year of Fred talking about Toronto and why he loves Toronto so much, and what Toronto's always going to be the most one of the most important places in his life because that's where he became who he is. He really recognizes that, and just like DeMar, it's like that's part of the affinity for the Raptors forever. Is I became a made man and who I am in this world, not only with my family and my kids, but in the NBA and where I play. And that will never go away. Freddie will always love Toronto, just like DeMar. He's professed it on an interview that I've seen recently. So, yeah, Fred's awesome, man. I love Fred so much. I'm proud of him for getting this new position that he just got. Yeah. Shed and Mobo, tenacity. You love it. You love the tenacity. Yeah, Mobo's been all around. He's doing the dirty work. He's not doing things for glory. He's doing the right things, the next winning play, and he's very versatile. And he's very useful. Jonathan Mobo is really showing good stuff in Summer League so far. Mel Bester's here. We got our Knicks fan in the house, our resident Knicks freak. Hey, Lex, how's your Monday? Good morning as well. Anything new today? Just eating oatmeal with milk and bread this morning for breakfast. How's the summer weather in Canada? Been great here. Yeah, we've had some nice weather this weekend. It's been pretty warm, but not too crazy stifling heat. I mean, there's been a heat dome over parts of Canada and the United States. It's very, very hot. But no, there've been pretty nice, beautiful weather recently up here. We get a little mix of rain here and there too. So you're eating oatmeal. Okay. Yeah. What's new today? Well, we beat the Magic yesterday by 3 points in Summer League. That's what's going on. Neil's saying it's only a charity stripe when it's not a strategic foul. Intentional fouls are psychological warfare on the court. See, I never really got that delineation. There really wasn't anything like that. It's just a general term for the free throw line. You know, we never actually, like, I guess you've got that delineation in your head, but not me. When I was a kid, it was just another synonym for free throw line, charity stripe. And it doesn't matter how you got there. It's just it plays off the idea that it's a free throw. So you're having charity given to you because you're at the line. You're going a step further and reading into it more than it actually was from what I remember. It was just another term for he's going to the charity stripe. And it didn't happen to have anything to do with how the foul was committed or what was happening. He's just going to the charity stripe, which is another word for the free throw line. That's what I got an understanding. I don't know. I didn't know that there was a specific kind of foul that got you to the charity stripe. It's just the free throw line's the charity stripe. That's the way I always understood it. Shaq Lindsay saying Colin Murray-Boyles fits in perfectly. Brilliant job by the front office in picking him. It seems like he's just more of what we've already got. But hey, if this is what we want and have a lot of it, well, we got it in stock. And we definitely got next man up on these kind of characteristics. In some ways, there's a lot of similarities between him and Scotty Barnes for the stocks. You've seen it. He got a big block. He's got some steals. He's been a shit disturber. So, he could play Colin Murray-Boyles next to Scotty Barnes and have two guys that are really good at stocks. Yeah. That's the kind of duplication I don't mind, because that's something you can stack. Bobby Webster said, one of the things I like in a player is IQ, because you can stack IQ on a team. If you have a lot of people with high IQ, that's really good. And we do. That's one of the traits he looks for in our players. Elijah Martin, Jamal Shed, Jakob Poeltl, high IQ basketball players. And that's a characteristic that's attractive to Bobby and who he wants to play on the Raptors. So yeah, IQ. And also you can stack defense, apparently. You can stack defense, that's for sure. Let's see. Cool Cat saying, holy smokes, I didn't realize Jordan is part of his name. I only thought Kobe, quite the motivation for the young man. Well, he bulked up and he looks different. I have to search for him on the court. Yeah, the Ja is Jordan. It supposedly symbolizes Jordan. Ja Kobe. Jordan Kobe. That's his name. It's crazy. What a name to live up to. Seriously. W Stream fam, thank you. 10:30 cutoff. Thank you. I'm 10 minutes away. Let's see if we can get there right on time. Cool Cat saying, I feel sorry for Boucher. I was hoping he would act sooner to secure his long-term career. I know you want him to stay on the Raptors, but how many wants to stay and still have to leave? Agents get to work. He's a victim of the new salary cap, just like Gary Trent. It's not anything else. It's not the Raptors. It's not him. He couldn't have done anything about this. He's just in a very, very bad position with the changes in the salary structure of the NBA. It's bad timing. If he had been in this position 10 years ago, he'd be fine. And he'd be making the comparable amount. Yeah, you can blame CJ McCollum. You can blame the last collective bargaining agreement for the players, Chris Boucher, Gary Trent Jr., Precious Achiuwa, for being on the outside looking in and just not getting the amount that you thought you would get. Thank God, Mr. Boucher, that you have acquired a certain amount of wealth in your career already, because you may have gotten the bulk of it on your last contract, sadly. And it's not going to keep going up, because this is the NBA how it is now. Now, the thing I'm worried about for you right now is you're still sitting in that draft green room waiting for your name to be called to come to a new team. And I'd rather hear that happen for you, even if it's not the Raptors, sooner than later, because I don't like you being in limbo like this. And I want you to find your place for next year, Mr. Slim Duck. Yeah, it sucks. It's tough. But the thing that is fucking him up the most is the new salary cap structure. That is the only thing you can blame. You can't blame Chris for trying to do things different. He was honorable and loyal to the Raptors. And you can't blame the Raptors either, because in some ways, this new salary cap thing is a totally fucking a lot of players at the level of Chris and Precious. It's just how it is. It's just how it is. And yeah, agents get to work and get Chris a team right now. Seriously, do it, everybody's uncle. That's right. Do it. That's right. All right, let me see where I am. I jumped ahead just a second. Okay, here we go. Shaq Lindsay saying, did you see Common last game? I know it's early, but he doesn't look, doesn't he look a little soft? I don't know. I haven't watched Common. I've heard mixed reviews. Somebody said he was horrible and he looks like a bust already. Some of y'all have said it's too early and we shouldn't be judging him already. I think both are fair. We'll just have to see over time. In some ways, I'm not going to keep checking on while I watch. It's water under the river. And honestly, that thing with Rich Paul and what I saw in that clip, Common was never for us. He was never for us. So Raptors fans, let him go. We got Colin Murray-Boyles, and it's looking good. It's looking good. Randolph's here. Blessing gloves, Raptors freaks. Family, you're in the fight of your life, only that you're not fighting alone and for yourself only. Yeah, this is so true. And Randolph really is starting to get this. A resistance is building. You know, there's been some planetary alignments that have changed. It's like Uranus is in Gemini all of a sudden. And this planetary placement up in the sky is the same placement that happened during World War II. It's the same placement that happened during the Civil War in the United States. There is a conflict aspect in the planetary lines, and they're saying that this period will last till 2033. So be ready. We may be a world at war very, very soon. It looks like things are developing in that direction because of the bullshit in the White House in the United States. So unfortunately, I think it's a good advice for everybody to kind of take stock of things in their life and what matters, and kind of get ready just in case the shit hits the fan. I'm sorry to say, but this is just true. I wish blessings on all the good-hearted people in this world that believe in the true love of God and Christ towards everyone, not by choice by this category or this, or imprison this person because this. No, everyone is a child of God in God's eyes. And we all need to band together against the evil that is trying to single people out and do awful, reprehensible things to them. And I'm telling you, we're moving into a really weird period right now where it could be very chaotic. So do your part for yourself to take care of yourself, but also help in the resistance and do your part and look out for each other. In some ways, the way you beat hate is through love. And if we can find love and connection and stand strong together, we will always win in these kind of battles, in these kind of situations. Blessings to the Phillips family, and thank you for such an important, poignant words of wisdom today, Mr. Phillips. And thank you. And yeah, wash your damn hands is what Seymour was saying. That's right. That's right. There you go. Wayne's saying that's the point, Shaq Lindsay. The goal is to have our bench maintain or enhance. Sometimes our core might suck, and it's our bench that brings us back. I'm all for a deep bench. It's not rocket science. Yeah, and if they're defensive oriented, it actually really helps, because some ways, look, the bench of the other team hopefully will be not as good as quality. And second, if the bench is coming in, they're going to leave their starters in. They should be tired, and then they're ripe for the picking by people like Chucky Hepburn and Jamal Shed. Ripe for the picking. That's right. Just go pick the ball off them like an apple off a tree. Is what they're going to be doing. Stuff like that. That's right. Cool Cat saying the NBA wants global money, then the amount of international players have to increase. Just the rules of business. You have to give up some locally to get globally. Otherwise, stay a local and earn less. I mean, it's good that they've been local in different ways. Adam Silver obviously wants to expand. We'll see an NBA team in Montreal someday. Maybe. We'll have to see. Shaq Lindsay saying problem with Chris is giving him playing time. Chris wouldn't be happy getting DNP, and probably it would have affected our chemistry. Our core is really good. Our bench will only enhance it. Science rocks. So I'll say this about Chris. The questions about why he was not getting to play 50 games, some sort of contractual thing. Also, the notion that maybe Chris adds up to winning too much and we were trying to tank last year. These are valid things to say. But I'll also say this. Chris is not a good passer. And that's part of the problem. In some ways, the Darko people have to be excellent passers and looking to pass. And a lot of the guys that were on our team when Darko came that were not good at this, they're gone. They're gone. Gary, Pascal, unfortunately. In some ways, Pascal is a pretty good passer, but a lot of times I'm talking about guys where the way you measure it is if they get the ball, how likely are they to shoot it or pass it? And well, Chris is more likely to shoot it or take the ball himself and not move it along. And, there's other limitations with Chris that you have to cover up in particular in certain ways. So I think that it's just the kind of thing where it's just like, well, your time with the Raptors has been fantastic. We love you. You're a legend. You're a champion with us. But it's just, we got to move on. And I hate it. It's like, if we could keep people forever, well, that's not realistic. And you can't do that. And Chris had a very long, successful career with the Raptors on our team. Maybe the next chapter is time to written. It's tough. It's scary because Chris has only played one NBA game other than on the Raptors. And that was one game for the Warriors in his rookie year. Just one game. His whole entire career has been in the Raptors. And in some ways, that's why it's kind of tough for what's happening right now. It's very, very tough. We'll just have to see how it goes. I'm pretty sure Chris is gone, though. The fact that David Roddy's sitting on that Summer League sideline with Scotty and all them tells a lot. I mean, that maybe should have been Chris in that spot, in that seat sitting there, is what I'm thinking. Yeah. Let's see. Blackhawks saying Lou Dort is an NBA champion because his skill level is high defensively, and he did well on 3-and-D despite his size. Regardless of height or athleticism, skill matters above all. I'm starting to believe this more and more. Like these guys are short. They're not tall, average players at their positions, Elijah Martin and Colin Murray-Boyles. But maybe this whole skill argument, you're right. Lou Getz is a good example of this. Lou Getz did not have a direct path in the NBA. In some ways, he's lucky he's in the NBA right now. He worked very hard to be a champion on the Oklahoma City Thunder, a starter on a championship team, because there's no guarantees for him. I don't even believe he got drafted, right? He came in undrafted, didn't he? So it's like crazy. G saying Kyrie was on a stream and selected and asked to meet the coach of the Vancouver CBL team. Yeah, this is why. He was on a stream with Jazz, the guy, the sharpshooter, the trick shot guy, Jazz. Jazz is trying to make some level of professional basketball. So Jazz, I think his name's Tyler Jazz or Tyson Jazz or something. I don't know his first name, but his last name is Jazz. I know that. Well, he's on the Vancouver Bandits. That's the team that he plays for. And Kyrie was on his stream. So he was shouting out the team of the guy of the host of the podcast. That's why he said that. There's nothing like they always try and blow it up and say, oh, Kyrie wants to go and play for the Vancouver Bandits. No, he doesn't. He'd rather play for us first. And the rumor that I was talking about this summer over going to the CBL and play for the Bandits. No, he was just talking about the Bandits because he was sitting there with one of the players from that team. And he wanted to shout out that guy's team that he was on the show with. That's why. And yeah, the trick shot guy plays in the CBL. He's on the Vancouver Bandits team. So if you want to see that trick shot guy, Jazz, he plays in the CBL in Vancouver. It's pretty cool. Blackhawk saying, hell, I'm Canadian and I complain about the cold. Not everyone wants to deal with the cold or snow without skies or skates. Shoveling your driveway can be annoying. Yeah, the cold was brutal out here at my new place in the last year. It was one of the worst. It was the worst winter I've ever experienced in my life. It was very difficult. You guys saw me every day, but man, it was tough. We've done some upgrades on the building here so that it should be much better this winter coming up, winterizing and holding the heat in the house. But man, it was tough last winter for me personally in the winter. I had the worst, coldest winter ever in my life last year. And it was weird. I mean, I've lived in Florida most of my life. I've never had a cold like this. And when I was down in the city, there's a certain heat that just comes off the concrete and the amount of people generated. Toronto has a totally different climate than where I'm at up here past the Greenbelt. And it's cold out here and it's a lot different. So I can see it. Ooh, not fun. It's annoying. Yeah. Milbest just saying, gee, I saw a Kyrie video yesterday from recent that he responded to a reporter question. He was at an arcade saying, if you see LeBron as a father figure and he had his dad next to him, was insulted. Okay, I don't even know what you're saying. You're saying, gee, I saw a Kyrie video yesterday from recent that he responded to a reporter question that he was at an arcade saying, if you see LeBron as a father figure and he had his dad next to him, was insulted. Okay, I don't even totally get that in some ways. That in some ways, LeBron, we've kind of limited the LeBron talk by Sergeant at Arms orders here. Okay, Chriscom say, "What up, Lex? Good to see. Great, Chriscom. If the NBA expanded to Canada, what city would you choose to join the NBA? Montreal, first and foremost, by far. Montreal. Vancouver's got their chance. I don't think Vancouver will ever get another chance. Honestly, I think Montreal is first, and if you're going to pick another team after it, it's probably Calgary." So I would say that those two cities have the next best chances. Montreal by far, for sure. And all the signs are pointing to that the NBA is looking at Montreal with how many NBA Canada games we've been playing there in the preseason. Yeah, we've been going to Montreal every preseason the last 3 years. So that's a sign they're really testing that market to see if it's viable for the next expansion in the NBA. So I think it's Montreal. Straight up. And the next best viable city would be Calgary after that. Calgary gets an NBA team after that. So let's see. Cool Cat saying, for the first couple of years, my brain was shocked every year about how cold it can get. The island heat in my system is shocked until it's not a thing anymore. Laugh out loud. Now I prefer the cold to heat. You know, there's benefits to both. And growing up in Tallahassee in the heat in Florida, I got tempered to it. I'm very much like good in this crazy hot summer. This is nothing to me. In fact, I drive around with my truck windows down and no air conditioning on, even when it's like almost 40 degrees Celsius out. I love it. I love getting in a hot truck and driving around and getting that cool breeze through there and not running the air. Some people are riding with me and they'll be like, why can't we put the air on? It's like, it's just not how I've never done it. And I tell them, I was like, if I didn't run the air down in Florida where it was 110 degrees in Tallahassee, humid ass hot summer, I'm not going to run it up in Canada. So it's just how I am personally. I've never run the air conditioner in my car, and some of my passengers get upset. It's just how it is. It's just how it is. Cool Cat saying, I think Montreal would be great for an NBA expansion team. The Canadian rivalry off the charts. Great global exposure, French speaking province, international. It seems like a city that's come around on sports and is more hungry to support sports teams. At times, I thought maybe the city of Montreal was a little bit too like, yeah, sports, but no, they're very diehard sports fans in Montreal at this point. And I think they would do a good job of supporting their team. Now, you can't look at the Expos leaving or different things like that, Nordiques or whatever, to see, oh, maybe this isn't a viable economic place. No, I think Montreal would do all right. And I think Cool Cat's right. If we had Montreal-Toronto rivalry in the NBA, it'd be a lot of fun. It'd be a lot of fun. It will never get to the level of the Habs and the Leafs, but that kind of energy and synergy would be involved in it. Montreal versus Toronto, NBA style. It'd be very, very intriguing to see. Wayne saying, thought you guys would cool down on the Cloud GM stuff. Not one player drafted by front office was on the Cloud GM's radar. Thought they would have learned. AJ is in his 5th year. He should be doing this. Super surprise. I don't know what you mean, Wayne. You're saying Cloud GM stuff. We are a Raptors channel that's going to speculate on Raptors issues. We're not going to be totally fit in a box on everything. If we go a little bit outside the lines, as long as it's positive and not toxic for Raptors Nation, I have no problem with talking about it. So a little bit of speculation about GM work is fine. We're not a full-fledged trade rumor channel, and we're not trying to tell Bobby exactly how to do his job all the time. We do give suggestions, and we do have proclivities and preferences. But I think that in some ways, I appreciate you being sergeant at arms, but I don't know what we're doing. Are we doing Cloud GM stuff? I don't even know what we're doing. We're just talking about Raptors. That's all we're doing here. Trevor saying Canada named the #1 educated country in the world. Okay, we'll take that. That's awesome. I like that. Blackhawk saying Chucky is a basketball killer. Eek, eek. I like that. I like that. Monique's here. Good morning, Raptor Free crew. Happy with everything going on in Summer League. AJ has to be MVP. Salute at CMB. He can play. Elijah's settling in well. He didn't have as good a game yesterday, Elijah Martin, but it is what it is. He's not going to be perfect. And he had such a huge game in the first game, really a big coming out game for Elijah. This game was kind of the balance. We're going to see, well, he's going to do this on this game, shoot 50%. And then the next game, he's going to shoot 1 for 7. Yeah, I mean, that's the way it goes with young players. And we'll have to see how his consistency evens out over time. But yeah, Elijah Martin is very promising. And I think the most important stat with Elijah in the first 2 games is his highest plus minus on the whole entire team. That is a big, big stat right there. Shaq Lindsay saying Towns, great stretch 5, but terrible on defense. Indiana picked on him on defense because he can't defend the switches. So don't. Yeah, that's why New York wants to trade Towns for Giannis. You're hearing they want to trade Karl Anthony Towns for Giannis Antetokounmpo? Man, that would be interesting. Milwaukee would be really bad at that point. Really, really bad. Yeah, I like what Shaq Lindsay's saying here. Cat is something that like a lot of teams would covet. A lot of casual fans would say, oh, Cat's such a good player to have on a team because he can shoot the threes and he's a big, huge center. Yeah, but Shaq Lindsay just illustrated how that's a losing strategy too in real winning basketball kind of situations. Cat can be more of a detriment than an add-on, and I believe that's true. I think you can look at the history of him on the Timberwolves and their failure and the failure on the Knicks that will tell you this. So it's like NBA fans that just get dazzled by a 7-foot man that can shoot threes. That may not be winning basketball in reality. And that's what Shaq Lindsay just pointed out. That's right. That's right. Wayne saying the player of consequence this year for our senior team is going to be Walter. He has become known to be a taker of winning plays and shots when it needed. Those good habits don't disappear. They get better. That's what I was saying in the game yesterday, because I was saying in the Discord chat that we're going to bust this game open at one point and run away and rout them. I was hoping it would happen the second, but it didn't. I was hoping it would happen in the third, but it didn't. The Magic were hanging around and keeping the score close. So then when it got too close to the end of the game and we weren't pulling away from them, I was basically thinking, all right, this means Shed and Walter have to take over as veterans and lead this team in a competent way towards funneling us to the victory. And that's exactly what they did, along with Mobo and Lawson and Colin Murray Boyles. They did a great job, the last 5 guys that were on the court for the end of the game. They played really solid and together and in tune with each other, which is an advantage we have in the summer league because we have time spent together. Shed, Mobo, and Walter, very familiar playing with each other and with Lawson. And that kind of continuity from last season was helpful in closing the game last night, along with the headiness of Shed, the versatility of both Mobo and Murray Boyles, and then the speed and tenacity of Lawson, and then the clutch of Jacoby Walter. And this is kind of what Wayne's talking about. He's expecting Walter to show up more and more in late game situations as far as a clutch player hitting a big shot to help the Raptors win. And I'm all about that. I see it in him. The DNA's there. He has a game winner from last season already against the team we just played last night. So, yeah, he got that game winner against Orlando. Expect more game winners and clutch plays. Kobe Bryant, he better be able to do this, right? He better be able to do this. Most saying Jonathan Mobo has been incredible in summer league, quicker on his feet, quicker, etc. Game slowing down for him. He feels more confident. He feels more a part of the league. He's a bona fide NBA player, and he can be more playing in the right kind of frame of mind with some of the jitters and things out of the way because he's a bona fide NBA player. And I love it. You know, in some ways, Jonathan has every reason to be a little worried, because his time and his place on the team is under threat because of new players and a lot of competition on this rotation in this roster. But he's coming at it really easy go lucky, being himself, and still coming with the same energy as last year, and it's working. This versatility and the different things that he offers are going to be too attractive for Rajakovic to not have him involved in the main Raptors in certain ways, because he's a very useful player. If it's rebounding and defense, sure. If it's being a backup ball handler that brings the ball up sometimes too. And, you know, he's done a great job of finishing near the basket. If you think about where Jonathan was in Summer League when he first started, he's missing so many bunnies near the basket. Now we see him elevating with power and dunking the balls if he's anywhere in the vicinity of the rim. He's not half-assing trying to go up and missing bunnies. He's making sure he's dunking them through. And that's an improvement from last year right there. Trevor's saying Raptors already playing FIBA-style basketball with lots of ball pressure. Ball pressure is a term for what they're doing. Oh, yeah, that is a term. That is definitely what they're doing. James saying, Lex, who is our best scorer off the bench? I'm leaning towards Grady. Yeah, it's either going to be Grady or Jacoby. And it may – see, God forbid this happens. If there is one of the main 5 starters out, those 2 guys will be switched in first. Probably Grady is the first guy to get in the starting lineup if anybody's out. You know, if anybody's missing, then Grady might be that 6th guy that could be a starter. But Jacoby could also be in that picture too, and also Oshai. And it could also have to do with the matchup. If we want a more offensive-minded player, Grady. If we want a more defensive-minded player, Oshai. They may be replacing somebody in the starting line. God forbid, though. We don't want anybody replacing the starting line. We want our starting 5 healthy and 82 games through. But if there is that problem, well, we have reliable guys that started a lot last year in Dick and Abaji. And as a third choice, also Walter. Walter could get those starts too. I think it's those 3 right there. But off the bench, the most important scorer probably should be Grady to start. But who knows? On certain nights, Jamal may be having a big game off the bench. It could be Colin Murray Boyles all of a sudden in a surprise too. Jacoby Walter, of course. Jamison Battle. Who knows? We'll have to see. Let's see. Him and RJ. Yeah, okay. Seymour saying Battle has a smooth game. Reminds me of Tayshaun Prince. Just smooth with it. Yeah, I guess. I mean, he had a tough game yesterday. I really hate that he got teabagged. That was not only a bad game, but a really horrible dunked on. And that's totally Castleton's fault. Seymour saying Shed Van Vliet. Yeah, that's his name for me. I call him Shed Van Vliet. I call him Sheddy, like Freddie. He's Sheddy. And there's a lot of the Fred Van Vliet essence and energy in Jamal Shed. And he said it. He wants to be like Fred. He asked Fred if he could wear 23. Fred said, "You have my blessing, kid." You know, you got to remember, Fred was in Houston the last year that Jamal Shed was at Houston in college. And they actually interacted before he even got drafted to the Raptors. And then when he came to the Raptors, Shed did personally ask Fred Van Vliet if he could wear 23. He got his permission. He's not wearing 23 out of the blue. He went and asked Fred if it would be all right if he could wear his number. And Fred gave him his blessing. That's what I'm saying. So Most very optimistic about Ulrich Shamshay. Yep, the strides and the progress is there, very much so. Let's see. Kareem Thomas is saying absolutely hated the pick of CMB, but that was because we needed to address the center position. Now that it has been addressed with Mamu, our 9th pick is justified. CMB is a great addition to the Raptors. Yeah, free equals charity. Throw equals strike. There's nothing else to it, people. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know why we brought it up. It's because Jillian had a confusion. But I agree with what you're saying. I think the Raptors are not interested in drafting center projects, that it's just not in our MO. Like, even though this draft had a glut of very promising big man prospects like Jean Bernier and Common Malawach, the Raptors stayed away from them because in some ways they value taking a center who's 4 or 5 years into their career that has already proven that they could play at the NBA level. In some ways, you get a young center, they're going to make mistakes like Derek Queen and Common Malawach, and they're going to look bad, and they could even add up to you losing. Christian Koloko, rookie year. Think about that. So in some ways, the Raptors are smart, and the MO of what Bobby Webster and Masai Ujiri with them before is we don't want to waste time on a high draft pick on a center because they're always a project. In some ways, we want to get them going now so they can contribute now. And Shamshay was special because he was near the end of the draft and a pick, and he is a center project for us. But he's one that's coming up in a different route in a way. If you come up from the lottery in a number 9 pick, you're expected to contribute right away. And the Raptors are in a position with Brandon Ingram healthy coming in that they couldn't wait on the number 9 pick to not come in and do something to help the team immediately. And that's the thing right there that I realized after the fact. Is that the Raptors do not value drafting centers because they'd rather go and get somebody like Sandro Mamu. They'd rather go and get a Juancho Hernan Gomez. They'd rather go and get Orlando Robinson or Freddie Gillespie as somebody who's got a little bit more time in the league and already a season and somewhat proven that they can play mistake-free basketball in the league. So Sandro Mamu, it's not a draft pick, it's Sandro Mamu that's coming in. That's it right there. I hope that it kind of illustrates the philosophy of why the Raptors didn't draft the center in this draft. It's very interesting. I thought they could have gotten away with it in the second round on the pick that they picked Elijah Martin because there were still some good quality centers there. But even then, they didn't want to deal with a center prospect project. No, they don't want to wait for it. They'd rather get this stuff done and have somebody ready to go like Sandro. That's right. Monique saying hard-fought game. We were sloppy earlier. Glad we got pulled it out. Tristan De Silva cooked us, and way to go, James Wade, yet again. Yeah, that wouldn't have happened if Mobo had started. I'm saying that right now. If Colin Castleton hadn't been a dud right from the start, and Colin Murray Boyles, brand new, not knowing what the fuck he's doing, Tristan De Silva took advantage of that at the beginning of the game and went off. But you notice he slowed down as Mobo came in. And Mobo giving him the assignment to guard De Silva, well, that slowed Tristan down a lot at that point. That's it right there. That's right. Tristan Jazz, that's the guy's name, Tristan Jazz, the trick shooter. Okay, thank you, Kaz. I'm going to give you a dunk for giving me the name. It's Tristan. It's not Tyson. It's Tristan Jazz. Kaz, Trucker Kaz getting a dunk for helpfulness on giving me the full name of the trick shooter who plays for the Vancouver Bandits. 43. You got the Siakam, my guy, Kaz. You're on that Siakam for the dunk total right now. 43, baby. Let's go. Wayne saying Cooper Flagg, after watching his 2 games, he is a solid player. Dallas is in a good spot. Nobody cares about fans' opinions on the cold. It's about the players and an African kid's first experience. Yeah, I just don't. I mean, I get it. If Raptors fans see Ulrich Shamshay talking about the cold in his interview last night, I don't think they're going to come at him. They love him. That's the thing. Sometimes you're impervious to that kind of stuff. It's like, oh, Shamshay, he's from Africa. Of course he's going to complain about the cold. And I'm not getting insulted. If there's some weird Raptors fans on Raptors Reddit going crazy about Shamshay talking about the cold, well, get over yourself. That kid is young, and he's smart, and he's fun, and we want him on our team because this man's wingspan and his possibilities are amazing. So, yeah, we ain't going to get mad at Shamshay for this. He's very popular. We know a lot of people love Shamshay. In some ways, he's like a cult hero in the Raptors team right now. So coming at him about complaining about the weather, okay, come on. Is it worth it? No, it's not worth it. Trust me. It's not worth it. Monique's giving me the W stream, W vibes. Go Raptors for life. Keep at it always, Lex. Strong forever. I had my 1,400 consecutive stream yesterday, guys. 1,400 days in a row. I've done my stream plus one for today. That's right. Nice to see Florida Gators coach Todd Golden in Vegas supporting his guys. Yeah, I'm biased. Fuck that guy. Let's do this behind his back. How about that? That's right. They are national champs, but I am anti-Gators. Fuck the Gators. I'll say that forever. And Scotty will say it with me. That's right. Kareem saying Martin is going to catch a body against Golden State. Battle will have 5 threes. CMB will have 10 points, 10 rebounds, and Jacoby will have a triple-double. That's my predictions for next game. Okay, you don't have to be great, Criscom. He's going to come out with predictions. We'll have to see how much on his checklist actually comes through. I love it all. I want to see it. I think the thing that's most likely is that Martin will catch a body somewhere in that game. I think that's the most likely thing on that list. Kareem saying, also, do we always have to say Colin Murray Boyles? Like we have to say a Tribe Called Quest? I don't know. We're going to work this out. I mean, CMB, we know what we're saying when we say CMB. If we say Colin, it's ambiguous. So you can't just say Colin because you could mean Castleton. So I don't know. Murray Boyles? I don't know. Boyles? Are we going to call him Boyles? I don't know. In some ways, we got to figure this out. I think Murray Boyles or CMB, if you really want short form. I mean, yeah, in some ways, he wants a short nickname. He said that. He said RCMB is too long because that's too long. What? That's only 4 letters. RCMB? It's too long? Yeah, it's too long. And it's the cops. I don't want to have anything to do with that. Nothing to do with that. Yeah. Yeah. Fiercely saying back from a meeting and y'all are still here. Yeah, I'm 220. I'll probably go 2.5. Although you guys are continuing to add the comments here. I see. Oh, no, there's not that many more here. I'll finish it up. Kareem saying at Fiercey, you're always in meetings. I hope you're the head of the table and not being critiqued or performance. Laugh out loud. Either way, MJ's a badass. We love MJ. You know, I thought it was wrong of Jillian to tell her to not let her daughter watch Love Island. Well, you don't tell the mother how to parent their child? No. In fact, as Fiercey said, Love Island may give her an opportunity to talk to Fiercey Jr. about very important subjects and maybe give life lessons for her away already and stuff like that. Yeah, that was a little out of pocket at that moment. In that moment there, yeah. Monique saying Matt Bonner in the ARC game done by Simulu. Always great seeing Jeremy Lin in Toronto around this time. Love seeing him in a Toronto Tempo jersey. In fact, let's do the Instagram stories. I'm sleeping on that. We got Coach Andrew Jones with the score from last night. Very happy. And there's Ava B. Hoopin. I'm telling you guys, Coach Jones's daughter, Ava, has grown like an inch or two this summer. She's taller than she was when I started watching her like just 2 months ago, guys. So there's a growth spurt going on with Ava B. Hoopin. And she be hooping. She's making these baskets left and right. She is no joke. I'm telling you right now. Colin Castleton celebrating the Florida connection of having him and Elijah Martin on the court at Vegas Summer League. So he's down that. RJ Barrett loved the AJ Lawson transition dunk near the end of the game with 8 minutes to go where they had a couple of transition dunks for AJ in the fourth quarter that were badass. Jamal Shedd being in the interview scrum with Colin Murray Boyles and like talking to him, and he kind of threw Colin off. This is kind of a rite of passage. It's not totally a sunning like Justin Champagny used to do, but these guys are coming in acting like they're reporters and asking questions from the media scrum towards the young rookie. Welcome to the NBA, Colin. Your teammates love you, obviously, because they want to come and disrupt your interview. They obviously like you, man. If they wouldn't be doing that if they didn't. Shed also signing some autographs and taking some pictures with the fans also. I love this. Raptors have been using the NBA Paint logo with that weird childish drawing. And then they had the Vince Carter crying at the retirement ceremony. Man, the more I see Vince Carter's emotion from the retirement ceremony last year, the more I love him. Because it's really, now at this point, I see the healing and the passion that he had for like making things right with us, with Raptors Nation, with the team, with the city, with the fans, after 20 years of being at odds. It's just such a powerful healing. And I know some people see the Vince stuff where he's like, come on. And they think like, oh, he's just like, it's about like excitement. But this is about something else, guys. This is deeper. This is about healing a rift, a grudge, a feud, a problem where two people that used to love each other got grown apart. And then they were able to come together again in a beautiful way last year. And I love seeing it behind the Raptors winning a 3-point game against the Magic by the Toronto Raptors admin on their social media. It's fantastic. Mobo putting on blast his serious players only shoes. And he's got a bunch of the highlights from the game yesterday, all kinds of stuff, the score. Then he's got a highlight dunk by him from the crowd. And then we see a Shed pass to him getting another dunk. Yeah, it's just really active and really getting good hands on the ball and making sure he's finishing the dunks in a very, very completionist way. So thank you, Jonathan, for getting better at being near the basket and making sure the ball goes through the hoop, because that's been something you worked on all year, and you're seeing the improvements in the summer league so far. So lots of good highlights there for Jonathan Mobo from the game last night. And then he's there with his guys after the game. Who is that with him? That's his brother, his older brother. And I'm going to guess that maybe his agent or somebody. I don't know who all of his guys are, but I know his brother's there on the left. Elijah Martin reposting the Gators pic of him and Castleton also. Gator pride. Yeah. Battle, put the score up, but don't put that nutmeg on you up. No, don't do that. Luget's Dort is on water somewhere. We see him out on a boat on water. Jacoby Walter putting on blast his shot at the end of the first quarter at the buzzer at free pointer. That's that buzzer beater we're talking about. Clutch. Jacoby come running down and close that gap so that we're only down by 4 at the end of the first. And that's really, really good. We were not scoring well in the first. And, man, he made up some points right at the end to get us closer, and that was helpful. Yeah, Jacoby, you're clutch, and we need you to do that more and more down the road. That's right. Colin Murray Boyles reposting his interview and where he was getting harassed by Elijah Martin, Jamal Shed, and A.J. Lawson. In the middle of the interview, A.J. Lawson yelled out, "Let's go Gamecocks," because he's a Gamecock. Both of them from South Carolina, A.J. Lawson and Colin Murray Boyles from the same school, guys. So, yeah, AJ's got a lot of good posts from the game on his Instagram showing, his dunk in transition and the score and just the greatness of the Raptors. AJ, keep going, man. Keep going confidently. You're going to get what you deserve, and hopefully that's a Raptors roster spot. That's right. Pascal Siakam's got an interesting saying. He's saying, sea changer? What is this? He's in like a living room, and he's got something going on. Oh, it's the jersey. He's just getting ready to go out. Yeah, Siakam, we love you, man. You are a Raptor GOAT, and you're a top 4 all-time Raptor in my book. Emmanuel quickly taking a picture from the sideline. Of course, we saw all the Raptors vets back at the sideline, sitting over there. Sandro, RJ, Emmanuel, Oshai, Scotty, Coach Darko, Bobby Webster, all in a row over there on the sideline watching the Raptors play. Scotty Barnes hanging out with his dude, Alex, I guess. Alex in Las Vegas, Alex Powell. He's my guy. So Scotty's been enjoying his time in Vegas, going to Backstreet Boys at the Sphere this weekend and all that kind of fun stuff. Let's see. Is there anybody else? Norman Powell saluting Fred VanVleet. Okay, Mr. President. They said Norman's probably pretty impressed with Fred, that he's the president of the Players Association. Those guys have such a cool friendship. He's probably razzing Fred. He's probably calling him and doing goofy stuff like, let me do one real quick. I haven't done a phone call impersonation in a while. It's like, hello, is this the president? Hello, President. Hello, President. Hello. Yeah. Oh, no, this is Norman. Yeah, you're president, right? President. Yeah, president's choice. Yeah, president. You're the president. Norman, stop calling me, man. What are you doing? Yeah, you're president, bro. You're president now. Yeah, the president. Norman, I'm busy. I gotta go change a diaper. Come on now. No, president, the president. Yeah, could it be like that? The man's razzing him and calling him, okay, Mr. President. Morris Peterson, all up involved with OVO. October's very own is using Morris Peterson as a model for their gear. So, yeah, Morris is loving being associated with Drake's OVO and the Owl. That's right. There you go. It looks like Jamal McGlure was on the morning show this morning talking about the Revelers and the Carnival coming up. So you go on BTS this morning, the morning show, breakfast television. Jamal McGlure is out there putting out the word on there on Global. That's right. And let's see who else we got. They're putting on blast Jeremy Lin for wearing the Tempo shirt on Toronto Tempo's Instagram account. So there you go. There's your Instagram stories for today. Better late than never. That's right. Fiercely saying, Kareem, not the head, and thank you for that. Work-life balance above all allows me to enjoy simple things that are close to my heart. Have a great day, fam. Back at you, Dap to Fiercely. I very much enjoyed watching the game with you guys and talking in the chat last night during the game on Discord. That's right. Smooth saying 5s are the most difficult to develop. Raptors can't afford to wait. Exactly. And that's what we've figured out now. And Jakob's locked up long-term. He wants to be a Raptor for life. That'll help with the starting position. We just need to have the backups. And that's it. And it's looking like Sandro. It's looking like Jonathan. It's looking like Ulrich. That's what I'm looking at for the depth chart at C for the Raptors this season. That's what it's looking like right there. Yeah. Wayne saying, good point on Jonathan. When he settles down and uses his IQ, it's usually a good decision. Problem is, NBA is fast. So he's got to improve his anticipation timeline. Don't know the fix for that. I think he's okay. I think he did okay in the NBA last year in that ecosystem. He wasn't outclassed or out. He wasn't out of place. So I think he's all right. I think he's all right in this. Smooth saying Malawach will have a lot of time to develop with the Suns. No pressure on them. Yeah, I don't know. They just signed this thing with Devin Booker. Devin Booker wasting his career? Yeah, maybe, because the Suns seem like they're in a rebuild and they're very much starting off from the bottom at this point. Monique saying, love the team happiness after this win for sure in the hall. Yeah, these guys, the vibes are off the charts. And I feel like the new guys are even adding to the elements of it. As far as Elijah Martin, there's a certain swagger to him and confidence. And they're really fitting in. Chucky Hepburn on the down low. You know, this summer league team is fun. And the vets being around and being in the gym with them, it's a collective. And it's all of them. It's not just the summer league roster. It's the starters too. And that's fantastic. It's Darko's. It's his doing. It's give him all the credit in the world. And Scotty made that very clear on the broadcast last night that Coach Darko has provided this environment and this amazing continuity and connectiveness and chemistry and aura that the Raptors enjoy right now. It's all from the coaching staff and Darko. And Scotty had a lot of really nice things to say about Coach Darko. And Raptors fans, you need to listen to Barnes when he's saying that. Seriously, that's right. Kareem saying Elijah Martin equals Russell Westbrook. AJ Martin equals Norman Powell. Okay. Mo's saying great Scotty interview during the game. So many great things said. Hype for the season. Yeah. And I love that he's graduated to this level of comfort that he can go and sit down in the broadcast booth and sit for a while and just rap with them. Because in some ways he was scared to do that when he was a rookie. He's been very, very not trusting towards the media. And this is a breakthrough that Scotty came and did that, and he was fantastic. Scotty, you're awesome, man. You did a really good job, man. You represent us well. You represent Florida State well. You represent Toronto and Canada well. That's what I'm saying. Let's see. Kareem saying, hello and welcome podcast. I had Adam Silver on set for like 30 seconds, and Will asked if Montreal will have its basketball team. Silver said, Raptors have all of Canada. Do that with what you will. That's interesting. So that's what Adam Silver said. That's a big thing to say. Well, maybe he doesn't see Montreal as a viable candidate. And that may be a nod that we shouldn't be getting our hopes up about the Montreal team. You know, it could very well be Raptors Nation has infiltrated the Montreal market too much, and that it would be really hard for a Montreal expansion team to survive in Canada with a lot of their fans already being Raptors fans ahead of that. And, you know, the Raptors fan brand is very popular. That may be very tough to change over Montreal natives to being the fans of the new team, especially if they're losing all the time from Raptors fans. And that may be what Adam Silver understands. That makes sense in some ways. Okay, you're out. Blessings, Raptor Freaks. All right, you're out. Let's do the card. And let's get down here. All right, let me see. Where's my card today? Yeah, we'll do this one. This one's good. We've got another one of these weird cards. Full name answer, please. And do not half-ass it. Who is this player? Guys, a classic card of the day. Who is this player right here, guys? I think it's pretty easy. Let's see. First person to write in the full name answer will get the trivia points for the thing. Let me see if it's coming up. Let me see. You guys can't tell who this is? This one's pretty easy if you ask me. Honestly, this one's pretty easy. Yeah, look at that. You can tell who that is. Come on, guys. You know who that is. Carmelo Anthony, of course. Isaac Campbell getting Carmelo Anthony and the Portland Trailblazers card. Select easy, just behind. Birthday Boys got it. Straight up this time. No misspell or nothing on this one. Isaac Campbell. It's only a 50-point card, though. Honestly, it's not a hard one. That's not a hard classic card at all. Let's see. All right, Isaac Campbell, 2 days in a row. And Slug was right behind him. Almost there. All right, there you go. Let me see. Let me review my tabs. Cool Cat saying, I'm back from a meeting, still going. Marathon in progress. Yeah, half an hour over. You know, in these games, there are victories. A lot of things to say. Raptors do good job. 3-point victory over the Magic. Defensive intensity off the charts. Playoffs level, honestly. And I think that they're impressing a lot of people around the league and summer league and the NBA with what the Raptors are doing right now. And some people may be opening their eyes to like, oh shit, this year the Raptors are going to be a problem. I think that that's what's coming around in some people's heads right now. My stars of the game were AJ Lawson, Jonathan Mobo, Jacoby Walter, Colin Murray Boyles, Chucky Hepburn. Those were my 5 stars of the game. Y'all, let's do the straight goods on Canadian goods. Y'all, if you want to buy books, if you're interested in books, well, one of the best places to get books in Canada is Indigo Books. Indigo is a Canadian company, and they do source a lot of what they try to do through Canada. So, but they, books are imported and they come from all over the place. But if you want to buy books and in a corporate level, Indigo's okay, and Kohl's also. So Kohl's Books, Indigo Books, a place to get books. If you're Canadian, you want to support Canada, Canadian companies. There you go. All right, get your WNBA lineup set up. Raptors Reddit, pretty happy with the game from last night on the things they're saying. They're learning about Shamshe and CMB and all kinds of stuff. No birthdays today, guys. No birthday today, unfortunately. And yeah, we're done. Well, let's get out of here at 2.5. I appreciate everybody watching the Raptor Freak stream this morning. Tomorrow, I'll have the preview for the next game, which is Denver Nuggets tomorrow night, the 3rd game of our summer league. I'll have all the latest news on their lineup and different things going on for the game. Denver Nuggets tomorrow, Wayne Strainer. That's what's going on. Yeah, and there's Isaac had it in 2 seconds. Yeah, he's really good. Isaac's quick on the. And Fiercely saying, when there are games, so much to talk about. No need for Lakers-related content. But I must admit it was fun to talk about their dumpster fire. This thing's getting worse and worse. They're saying that it really is at a point where LeBron's not no future there. And in some ways, it's all messed up. And it's kind of crazy right now. It's interesting. Yeah, Nuggets. Let's go. All right, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Good job, Raptors. Proud of you guys. 2-0 at Summer League. 3-point victory over Orlando Magic. Very, very hard-fought battle. Gutsy win. Character win. I'll say that. And hopefully you can build off of the mistakes of this game and avoid any losses in Summer League. And you're lucky you didn't lose this game because you could have lost this game. But in some ways, you showed tenacity and a wherewithal to hold it down and make it happen, Jamal Shed and Jacoby Walter and AJ Lawson. So I'm proud of you guys for showing leadership on this team at the end of the game in a veteran way. In Summer League, where there's a lot of young players in confusion, you guys held it together and you controlled the game at the end of the game like a Fred VanVleet would, Shed VanVleet, and Jacoby Walter. Looking a lot like Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan in some ways on that. That's right. That's right. When things are well, I will buy Eric's book. That's right. We got to see the Raptors book, that new book Eric Smith's got out there. Have a great day. Back at you, Cool Cat. Let's go Toronto Tempo. Let's go Toronto Raptors.